Marshall Faulk, the new man in town, is the guy to watch for Indianapolis. The rookie from San Diego State will get the ball from this man, Jim Harbaugh, 25 to 30 times on handoffs and passes. And now Commander Cody is running the Oilers offense as their starting quarterback. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Criqui with Beasley Reese. Glad you could be with us on opening day. A season ago, as you Oiler fans know, the Oilers were division champion with a 12-4 record. The Colts, conversely, were 4-12, but they're coming off an unbeaten preseason. They came from behind 3 times to win in the preseason. They are optimistic, particularly with a rookie in their lineup that Oilers coach Jack Pardee calls a true home run hitter. That is rookie running back Marshall Faulk. And Beasley, they want to get him the ball 25 or 30 times. Is that too much for a rookie?
Not for this rookie, not for Marshall Faulk. That's the way they ran him when he was at San Diego State. He's a build-up performer. He gets stronger in the second half, and he can really go. Now, his coach, Ted Marchibroda, said, he's our gun, we're going to shoot him.
Now, the Oilers also have a big gun to shoot, and they know he can deliver. That's Gary Brown, who had such a sensational season a year ago, coming off the bench to rush for over 1,000 yards. He's been nicked in the preseason with a bad ankle, but Gary Brown is 100% right now, and he'll start.
Now, Don, you know, we saw his coming out party. That Gary Brown is absolutely amazing. Last year against Cleveland, he absolutely exploded. 8 games over 1,000 yards, 1,002 to be exact. He's a big-time performer, as is his teammate, wide receiver Webster Slaughter. That Slaughter has been, he had a knee injury last year against Pittsburgh, but he is 100%, has had a good week of practice, and he is going to start, and he is ready to go.
And there is Dean Biasucci ready to kick off and ready to receive for the Oilers. John Henry Mills, 48. He'll be primarily a blocker for the super fast Travis Hanna, number 82. He is the fastest Oiler. The new kickoff rule making a very big impact through the preseason. Only 3% of kickoffs were returned in the preseason. Now that the kickoff line has been moved back to the 30-yard line. Biasucci, like his counterpart Del Greco of the Oilers, is coming off a terrific season kicking field goals. Not a real kickoff man. He hits this ball well. It'll spin down, though, at the 5-yard line. Hanna is on the fly. Travis Hanna takes a big stick, and he goes down at the 19-yard line. 15-yard return. Ed Toner, number 44, was the man who came down and popped him. And now Cody Carlson, in his 8th year, comes out, and these are the protectors for Cody Carlson. Flannery's in at left guard for the great Mike Munchak, who's now an Oiler coach. Matthews, the center, was voted by the Football News the best offensive lineman in pro football. Jeffries, Slaughter, Gibbons, and Brown, all big-time receivers as they come out in the 4 wide receiver set. But they'll be playing with a tight end formation also, will the Oilers. Looking to put it up on first down, delivers downfield and throws a strike. Webster Slaughter comes up with a reception, and he's ahead for a Houston first down. The Colts on defense. Oilers are very concerned about 61, Tony McCoy, an undersized but very quick defensive tackle. Quentin Coriat, a great outside linebacker from Texas A&M, a very sound safety. And Derwin Gray, young player, Buchanan's back there with him. Ambrose and Daniel, veteran corners, not real fast, but they're smart. Damon Watts, a rookie, will be the nickel. He's a free agent. The Oilers will take a look at him. First throw, first down. Here is Cody Carlson getting time, running out of it. Now Carlson pump faking. He'll take it on the run. And he is hit and knocked down by the rookie Damon Watts. Popular figure here. He played collegiately in Indiana.
The Colts have started out playing a zone defense. That's the safest way to go. They've got everybody covered. All of the pockets, all of the spots are covered by defenders. So Cody does the only thing that he can do, and that is to get as much as he can possibly get. That was well played by the Colts. It's exactly the way to slow down the run and shoot, but it won't stop it. At some point, the Colts will have to play man for man, but certainly not at this position on the field.
Oilers in their last 2 preseason games gained 725 yards, but scored only 2 touchdowns on offense. They're looking to get it in the end zone now on a second down and long 5. Here's a throw and a catch. Again, it is Slaughter, and again, Webster Slaughter has a first down catch for Houston. Ray Buchanan, the free safety, gets him down, but looks like Webb Slaughter's in good health again, Beasley.
That is really the first time that Webster Slaughter has been tackled since he blew out the knee against Pittsburgh last year. They've been very careful with that guy. He's such a talented athlete. So while nursing that knee, they've been taking care of him. That's his first hit. He took it well. He should play well.
So the Oilers on this opening drive, moving the ball downfield. They started at their 20. Now they have it out to their 43. Tight end is in the game. The run goes to Brown as he cuts back. Look at that stick. Bazooka hit by Devon McDonald, starting outside linebacker. Well,
I'll tell you what, Don, they better be all over that kid, because Gary Brown, if you let him get into a rhythm, this guy can rock and roll. It's what makes the run and shoot team very, very dangerous, is when they can run and shoot. Now, if you can stop the pass or stop the run, you can control it. If they can run the ball with Gary Brown, it'll be a long day. The Colts off to a good start by sticking Brown early.
McDonald, a second-year linebacker from Notre Dame, now comes out on a passing down. Extra defensive back on the field for Indianapolis. Second down and 8. Carlson against the blitz. Fires to the flat. He's almost hit. The ball is separated from Givens by cornerback Ashley Ambrose.
Excellent man-for-man, one-on-one coverage by Ambrose. I'm talking about being all alone on that highway on the outside. He had great position, a super break on the ball.
Ambrose has been at it a long time. The Oiler coaches, all with great respect for the secondary of Indianapolis, they say this is a real sound unit. Now, third down comes up. Third down and 8 for the Houston Oilers. Opening drive of the game. Trips formation. 3 wide receivers set right. They got him jumping. Colts were offside as Carlson goes deep, and he's got a man, but he overshoots. Pat Coleman on the fly. Then Carlson takes a pop after he released the ball from Quentin Coriat. It looked like an outside backer. Coriat blitzed early. And that is the call as our referee Johnny Greer signals an offside against the Colts.
Now, you know, Don, that could be one of those new rules where, you know, Coriat and Harrod were faking the blitz.
Offside, 55, defense, still third down.
And according to that new rule, if you jump inside the neutral zone, and even if you get back, he got back, but he forced Hopkins to flinch, the new rule makes that call against the defense. Last year, that would have been against the offense.
And that makes it third down and a long 2, almost 3. Carlson again under the rush. They get him, they lose him, now they get him again. Coriat. So Quentin Coriat, who was a number 2 player pick, and Tony Bennett, number 56, the former Packer. They were on the rush. It might have been Bennett that gets there first.
Well, the coaching staff told us that this guy's got big-time rushing ability. He had him, he lost him, but he went and got him again. They are expecting sacks from Bennett. That's exactly what they got.
Now Jewel Brewer is back for the Colts, ready to punt for the Oilers. Is Camarillo, hits the ball downfield. He knuckleballs it towards the sideline, gets a big Oiler bounce, but does kick into the end zone for a touchback. So on a 53-yard punt by Camarillo, ball comes out to the 20 for Indianapolis. Back to the RCA Dome, and a big moment now, Beasley, for this young guy, Marshall Faulk, ready to start his first NFL regular season game.
You better believe this could be the start of something big. That's what the Colts are hoping, and you better believe that everybody inside the RCA Dome is looking at number 28 right now. He is the guy everywhere. We went to dinner last night. They had a little plaque with number 28 on it with a little sign saying, "They can't stop him." This guy is supposed to do what Jeff George, the hometown hero, didn't want to do, maybe couldn't do. He's supposed to save this team, and we're about to find out.
Well, we'll see if they decoy him. They talked yesterday to us about giving him the ball on 25 runs and 5 passes. And there's the first run. And Marshall Faulk spins ahead, gets some plus yardage after being struck at the line of scrimmage. Bubba McDowell makes the hit, the strong safety for the Oilers. There's the front blocking wall for the Colts. Wolfer's been a Pro Bowl player 4 times. Loudermilk, a very sound center. Jim Harbaugh talked about the overall strength of the offensive line. He thinks it's the strength of the team. Falcon, big Roosevelt Potts the runner. Shannon Baker will come in with an extra wide receiver with Turner and Dawkins. Cash the tight end. Right back to Marshall Falk as he dives out to the 20-yard line. They weren't kidding, Beasley. They're going to him early.
No, they are going to run the young man, and you know, he'll get the ball he'll get the ball 3 or 4 times. He will be featured in every series. You can absolutely put it in the bank. Every coach told us that was the plan.
Defensive end. Still second down.
Calling an offside on one of the defensive ends, so the ball is advanced now and almost to a first down yardage. Instead of 3rd and 6, it'll now be 2nd and 1.
And the Houston Oilers defense, their goal is to stop Marshall Falk and to force Jim Harbaugh to pass the ball, to beat them passing.
That's what the Oilers said. They don't think the Colts can beat them throwing the ball, so they want to take Marshall Falk's run out of the game, make Harbaugh throw. On 2nd and 1, Potts, the fullback. He was the Colts' leading rusher a season ago. Moving people back. Out across the 35-yard line. A 7-yard gain and a first down for the Colts. Front 7 on defense for the Oilers. Childress, one of the great tackles in the league. Latham has moved to defensive end from linebacker Al Smith, a Pro Bowl middle linebacker. Dishman, one of the best cover corners in the NFL. Very sound secondary. McDowell and Robertson have been longtime standouts. Jackson and Bishop will be the extra defensive backs in the Houston dime formation, which has 6 DBs in it. Harbaugh rolling out. Takes a look. Open man. Ball caroms off his receiver. Roosevelt Potts as Harbaugh drilled it in, and it went like a rock off flat water.
This Houston defense is all over the place. Now, they had so many people in the tackle box there that I thought this would be an easy completion, but look how quickly the linebackers get back into their spots once they realized it was a play fake. Excellent job by the linebacking core of Houston on that time.
It's interesting, everybody on both sides, both the Oiler coaches and the Colt coaches, felt that the Houston defense is better right now than it was a year ago. Here is a handoff, slant run, Potts, the big back. He played at 260 last year. This season he's down closer to 240, and he's quicker. He's stopped by the middle linebacker, Al Smith, but he does advance the ball out to the 42-yard line. 3rd down and 6.
Roosevelt Potts should have a great season this season. He had a great year last year coming in as a rookie, one of only 6 players to lead their team in rushing. Now, with the decoy, with the added dimension of Marshall Falk being on the team, he should really run well.
Harbaugh with a 3 wide receiver set. Oilers aligning to blitz. And here it comes. Harbaugh stands in, releases. He's got his man, tight end Kerry Cash. And he's not done till he's down to the 41-yard line of the Oilers for a first down. McDowell and Dishman finally got him. Beautiful play fake by Harbaugh. Then he delivers the ball for an 18-yard gain.
Substitutions are so key in the National Football League. That's Marshall Falk to the near side of your screen. They took him out of the backfield, so without changing personnel, the coach went to a 3 wide receiver set. The tight end Kerry Cash all alone. He's one of the best receiving tight ends in the National Football League, and I wouldn't want to hit a body that big diving forward.
We apologize for those of you in our audience who, due to technical difficulties, missed the first portion of the game. There is no score. Colts on their first possession are moving the ball now inside the 35-yard line. Houston started the game on offense, returned the opening kickoff to their 20, got a couple of first downs, then were stopped. And now with rookie Marshall Falk running and being tackled by Oilers middle linebacker Al Smith, the ball is advanced to the 34-yard line.
Whatever you thought about the Indianapolis Colts in the past, you can throw out the window. This is a team that's enthusiastic. They got rid of the players who didn't want to be here, and you can see that enthusiasm manifest itself on the field on this drive. It's an excellent drive so far.
There is Ted Marchibroda in his 34th year in the National Football League. And Potts, man, lost the ball. Oilers might have it. They do. Take the ball back on a fumble by Potts.
So now we will find out exactly what Marchibroda's team is made of. The first big controversy, having an excellent drive stopped by a fumble. Potts just fighting for extra yardage, and sometimes that'll happen. So will they, that old Colts team would have dropped their head. I don't think this one will.
Marcus Robertson makes the pop, and his fellow safety Bubba McDowell comes up with a loose ball. Don Criqui with Beasley Reese back at the RCA Dome in Indianapolis after a fumble by Roosevelt Potts. The Oilers have the ball back in this scoreless game, and the Colts come attacking again. Tony Bennett with that big sack. He makes the stop. Now, while we have a moment, let's go to Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
Stadium in Washington, where the Redskins are on the board. John Freese, watch the pump fake. That frees up Desmond Howard down the sidelines. 27 yards later, touchdown, extra point kick, and the Redskins lead Seattle 7-0 in the first quarter. Back to you in Indy.
Where, with 6 minutes and 34 seconds to go in the first quarter, the Oilers have the ball on a 2nd down and 8. Carlson under a big rush again. Now he stands in, lets the long ball fly. Webster Slaughter's on the run, but the strong arm of Cody Carlson has a little bit too much lead on it. Almost a home run ball.
Well, it was a double zone. The two safeties had the deep part of the field. It was a pretty safe throw for Cody. He throws it up high and tries to let Webster Slaughter run under it, but he put just a little bit too much on it. You can see there he's not satisfied with that effort.
It would be a real upset, a moral victory of sorts, if the Colts could score in the first quarter, as you know, Beasley. It's been, what, 22 quarters?
It's been a long time.
First quarter touchdown. Right now, though, the Oilers have the ball. As you see, a scoreless game. 3rd down and 8. Carlson fires. Ernest Givens turning out, had it and lost it, and the Oilers will have to punt the ball to the Colts.
Classic example of a player trying to run with the ball before he caught it. I mean, you could actually see Givens turning his head away as the ball was hitting his hand. Now, that's a rare mistake by one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League, but nonetheless, it was just that, a mistake.
Rich Camarillo, who drove his first punt 53 yards, but it was only 33 net, hit into the end zone for a touchback. Hit it from his 22-yard line. Another long spiral hit downfield. Dewell Brewer goes back to his 21. He's to the 30. Has a channel of blockers, and Brewer breaks it across midfield. There is a penalty marker down. But it's at the line of scrimmage. It could have been a man downfield early. We'll see. It was a 47-yard punt by Camarillo. A 34-yard return by Dewell Brewer. Signals against the Oilers, so the play will go apparently, Beasley.
Well, the Oilers had one of the linemen left a little bit too soon, so they will.
Ineligible member of the kicking team downfield, number 56. The penalty is declined. First down.
And I understand that declining. They'll keep the ball after a great return.
Behind the stats, Marshall Faulk could add a tremendous dimension to this Indianapolis team. In the last 3 seasons, the Colts with only 15 rushing touchdowns. Marshall Faulk with 74 at San Diego State.
That is just absolutely the #1 reason they had to draft the guy. They have been woeful in rushing. As a matter of fact, most categories 28 on offense. So they needed that guy.
Anchor honors are at rock bottom. Now it's first down, though, after the punt return by Brewer. And here's a handoff, and Faulk with those quick moves. Great vision they talk about that those standout runners have. He spots a gap and shoots into it and gets ahead for a gain of about 5 yards before defensive end Kenny Davidson brings him down for the Oilers.
Now, the run you just saw is one of the reasons that Marshall Faulk is compared to some of the top short, stocky runners in the game. Excellent vision, excellent interior runner like a Thurman Thomas.
Harbaugh hands off again. Here's Faulk, turns it outside. This is what it's all about. Marshall Faulk breaks it all the way down to the 22-yard line. This is why he gets the big bucks. A 20-yard run from scrimmage against the Oiler defense, which was one of the best in the NFL last year.
5 or 6 extra yards. The guy's excellent. Now watch number 42. Boom! Potts, Roosevelt pops absolutely popping a linebacker.
And that brings the Colts well within field goal range, but they're working with a first down. They go back to Faulk. And he he's taken down at the 20. These Oilers really hunting the football. There's guys punching at it. They freed it up once when the Colts were down at their end in this scoreless game. Glenn Montgomery, defensive tackle, was the lead hitter on that play. Straight on shot by big Glenn Montgomery, 94. Gain of 2 yards on the play. There's Jeff Fisher, defensive coordinator for the Oilers. His team being tested now. Harbaugh hands off, and look at the play by Ray Childress. Ray Childress.
The old man. You know, the veterans are the ones that usually come up with the plays. 5-time Pro Bowler. He's big and he's bad. And take a look at this initial move. See, Potts was supposed to trap him, couldn't get to him in time. Childress is one of those guys that can kind of smell a blocking pattern before it happens, sidesteps and makes the big play.
Yeah, it's probably headed to Canton someday, the former A&M Aggie. Ray Childress in his 10th year. Now it's 3rd down and 10, and they're looking to blitz again, are the Oilers. Harbaugh against the blitz, stands in. He fires. He's got an open man. Ball is taken down nicely. Floyd Turner is inside the 10. He's not done. He's down to the 6-yard line. So on 3rd and 10, the most dramatic play of this game is turned in by the Indianapolis Colts.
First of all, give congratulations to Jim Harbaugh. Look how cool and calm and collected and focused he is. Looking for the next play after making a great play like this. Number one, he recognized the blitz, and then after that, it's all the effort of Mr. Turner. Just look at him. He stumbles for about 12 or 13 yards while being banged around by the Houston defenders. But it's a great job by Harbaugh.
Harbaugh, 7 years a Chicago Bear, has really picked up his play in the preseason under the great quarterback coaching of Marcia Broda. Here is Falk. He's heading close. And he's down to the 2-yard line as the whole defense of the Oilers sweeps him under, led by number 56, Michael Barrow, and the strong safety, Marcus Robertson. It's been 22 quarters, 5.5 games in the regular season since the Colts have scored a touchdown in the first quarter.
This would be a great accomplishment by this team. This drive is a great accomplishment. The first drive was a great accomplishment for a team that had so much trouble over the years.
Actually, it's been 22 games since they scored a first quarter touchdown. Falk, he's in. Touchdown, Colts. He's legit.
Jim Harbaugh said it first. He said, isn't it nice to have a guy who is touted to be great, who gets the big contract and actually is great?
Yeah,
he said it in practice.
So when you're around for a while, you hear everybody coming in with all these accolades attached to them. He says, this guy came in, he's everything as good as advertised.
I tell you, he must be good, because we're talking practice and preseason games. Every player on the team sings this young man's praise. And boy, we are seeing evidence.
The extra point by Biasucci is up and good. And the Colts, an underdog in their home field, have taken the lead on the touchdown run by Marshall Falk, who has gained 45 yards on 9 carries so far. So he, Beasley, is well on his way to that 30 touches of the ball this game. We still have 2:04 to go in the first quarter.
Well, you know, you have to respect Ted Marcia Broda, 33 years in the National Football League.
Holding number 52 on the kicking team will penalize 10 yards and re-kick.
Uh-oh. Brian Radigan, one of the blockers on the they're going to re-kick the extra point now. The ball will be penalized and set back now to the 12-yard line. So it'll be the equivalent of about a 29-yard field goal. They'll try the extra point from the 19-yard line.
I hate to jinx the guy, but still, that doesn't bother a kid like Biasucci, and I should say, man, he's been here for a long time. In fact, the kicking tandem of number 3 and number 4 has been here for 9 years together.
The extra point, a little tougher, but it again is up and good. This one counts. Colts will kick off when we come back.
If you buy a Honda...
You were talking, Beasley, about how everyone talks about Falk and comparing him to the great runners, and they always add at the end, but Falk is faster.
And that's an amazing thing when you're talking about Thurman Thomas, Emmitt Smith, and Barry Sanders. Those are the three names you hear for obvious reasons. They're all about 5'10". They're all weigh about 205 to 210. Marshall Falk is right in that range. He's got that same type of balance and vision. He certainly has superior accomplishments in college to those players, except for maybe Barry Sanders.
Here is the kickoff. It's fielded by an upback, and the ball will be taken back to the 33-yard line. But now let's harken back a couple of minutes to the Marshall Falk touchdown that gives the Indianapolis Colts their current 7-0 lead.
And the first pat on the back goes to number 42, Roosevelt Potts. Watch him come in there, throw that elbow up, and make a little room for your teammate Marshall Falk, because he's just a rookie. Watch Potts again. He's a 260-pound guard, actually. Look at that hole he clears out, playing fullback. The combination of Potts at fullback, Falk at running back, they went out last year and got a bunch of free agents on the offensive line. The Colts are all set on offense for the future.
Carlson, a quick out. Givens has it, and Ernest Givens breaks it across midfield. And Givens, the All-Oilers all-time leading receiver from the reception, that's number 507, makes the play, and now we'll go to New York and DeGray.
All right, down in New Orleans, the Chiefs got 43 yards rushing in one drive from Marcus Allen, and Joe Montana finished it off with the TD pass to Willie Davis, 11 yards, under 2 minutes to play in the first. Chiefs lead the Saints 7-0 down in Beasley.
1:21 to go in the first quarter here at Indianapolis. On first down, the handoff goes to Gary Brown, and he turns it wide. First guy to get him was the middle linebacker Jeff Herrod, and then the super fast Quentin Coriat, number 55. 2 years ago, he was the second player picked in the whole draft.
How many times do you see a defense that's smiling, laughing, slapping one another? Look at him, spy this, follow it, check it, read down the line. And that team of Herrod and Coriat coming up with the play. Boy, those guys are playing some football.
They are. He was the lead tackler, you see, a gain of just 2 yards on the play. But the Oilers have the ball on the Indianapolis side of the field. It's down to the Colts' 43-yard line. You see, second down and 7. Carlson, 5-step drop. Ball is tipped and almost picked off. He was looking at Haywood Jeffries. Pro Bowl the last 3 years, but Eugene Daniel, number 38, was in there to break up the play.
They've got some pretty good little corners on this Indianapolis squad.
There's Vince Tobin, the defensive coordinator. His brother Bill Tobin has come in as the man who's running the Colts organization from the front office, and Tobin had some great defenses with the Chicago Bears back in '86. They allowed the fewest points ever in a 16-game season. Ago, he was coaching his son's Little League team. He was out of football for a year. Carlson gets time. He fires in the flat. He has Ernest Givens on a turn back. And Givens is still on the run, heading for the end zone. Givens is cut down at the 6-yard line. Tremendous play by Ernest Givens. They had him, but they couldn't hold him.
They had him so tough that they pulled his shoe off, Don. And the kid still broke out of it. They just gave him back the shoe. Now, Cody was really cool and calm in this one. That's a great strike. It's the second time that Ashley Ambrose has missed a tackle. Watch right here. He takes his shoe off. The linebacker, Quentin Coriat, I believe that was, or Jeff Herrod. That's the second time that Ashley Ambrose has missed an easy tackle on Givens and allowed him to gain extra yardage. That's exactly what a killer defense.
And that will bring the first quarter to conclusion, as the Oilers are challenging, but the Colts have the lead 7-0 as Marshall Falk ran for the game's only touchdown.
A punk.
For the first time in 5 seasons, the Oilers employ a tight end. There he is, number 46, Pat Carter. And Carter, an ex-LA Ram, is a good receiver. They could be going to him as a penalty marker is fired in. Gary Brown runs the ball, and Tony Bennett stopped him for a loss. And there's another foul called after the play. Oiler wide receiver Haywood Jeffries and one of the defensive backs of the Indianapolis Colts started shoving, so another flag was fired up. There's 2 on the field. That stops the clock with just 3 seconds gone in the second quarter. The Colts, who were last in the NFL in rushing last season with about 80 yards a game, already have 58 yards rushing in this one in the first quarter. Marshall Faulk, their vaunted rookie, with 45 of those yards on 9 carries, and he has the game's only touchdown. Jack Pardee talking about there's more camaraderie and acrimony if it leads to victories.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 38, number 80. Holding, number 77 over here. Everything all set.
That was very expensive for the Colts. The Oilers definitely beneficiaries of that. There was holding against the Oilers, and then the offsetting fouls on personal fouls against Jeffries and Daniel negate the whole play.
There's the fight. Nice little left cross into the chin guard.
Good work by Jeffries.
Yeah. Good job.
So it goes back to first down, and the ball is positioned at the 7-yard line. Now the Colts want a timeout. 14:50 to go in the half, and the Colts in the lead, 7-0.
Sunday, a blockbuster doubleheader. First, Dan Marino and the Dolphins take on Brett Favre and the Packers. Then the Oilers face Emmitt Smith and the world champion Cowboys, or regional action. Get all you need to know in one complete 30-minute helping with NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. The NFL on NBC.
Nothing more American.
The new defensive coordinator of the Colts, Vince Tobin, seeing his defense challenged now by the Oilers. Houston, first down and 10. Inside the 8-yard line of Indianapolis. 4 wide receivers set for the Oilers. Woody Carlson checks the defense and looks to throw on a timing pattern. He has Jeffries, and the ball is knocked away. The rookie, Damon Watts, a free agent from Indiana University, broke up the play to Webster Slaughter.
Watts was born right here in town, and watch Vince. That's close. Oh yes, those coaches, it's almost like they're playing. They get so excited, but Watts is a rookie, and that's a tough place to be against these great wide receivers. He's one-on-one right now.
But they only dodged one bullet there. As it's second down and goal. Draw play. Hope for ready. They knock it down after a 2-yard gain close to the 5-yard line. Tony Bennett, who's played some big football in his brief time at Indianapolis, the former Pro Bowler for the Packers, who came in as an $11 million free agent.
Now we are seeing sound play on both sides of the ball. Good drives by both teams. Pretty good defense all around, except for a couple of bad tackles, but this is a key moment right here. Here we go.
And when it's on the line, they're going to the run and shoot, not to the tight end offense. 3 wide receivers deployed to the left for Houston. Carlson takes a look, running out of time. Markers are down, ball's on the field. The Colts have it, and on the run. And it looks like a live play. Running down the field is Bennett. Tony Bennett heading for the end zone. If it goes, it's a 75-yard touchdown play. It looks like the flags were against Houston. It's a touchdown, and Jack Pardee is ready to erupt.
Holding, number 70 offense is declined. Touchdown.
Wow. So the third down play was critical indeed. It puts a big punch on the Oilers early in this game.
The noise in this building is deafening.
I've ever seen in the league in 1 year. This team couldn't do anything on defense last year. Today they've risen up, but this Houston Oilers team for the last 4 years has been within 1 or 2 in offense and scoring. They'll be back in it. Right now, the Colts looking to extend their lead to 14-0. So the money, Beasley, well spent on Tony Bennett. He's made play after play in this game.
Got a sack and a touchdown in a quarter and a half.
Longest fumble return ever by a Colt. With Beasley Reese, this is Don Criqui back at the RCA Dome in Indianapolis, and the capital city of Indiana rocking today as Biasucci's ready to kick off for a third time in this game. Twice after Indianapolis touchdowns as they lead 14-0 over the favorite Oilers. Here comes Travis Hanna out of Southern California with that 4.3 speed, but that speed comes to a screeching halt, breaks around at the 24-yard line. Devon McDonald on the play.
Watch the right side of your screen. That's Kevin Donnelly holding number 61, Tony McCoy. He still fights free and makes a sack. This was judged a sack. And then here comes Big Bennett. Gets it on the bounce. And you saw the results. I'm talking about a major sprint all the way down for the touchdown. There it is again. He was held. Tony McCoy still makes the play. Bennett makes his second or third big play of the game. That's why they brought him here. They're spending their money the right way in Indianapolis.
He had a cordon of blockers around him. Nobody was getting near him once he took off. But now it's first down and 10. Carlson stands in, looking deep. Fires in the flat. Slaughter has it, and he pays the price. Eugene Daniel measures him and then levels him.
And see, there's the difference. The difference is attitude. The Colts have a little cocky strut around here. I mean,
they do.
Yeah, they're coming at you. They're hitting you. They're talking to you. And the difference for Daniel is he makes the tackle. Now, if his partner, Ashley Ambrose, will take note, all you got to do when a guy makes a tackle, catches the ball in front of you, especially in the flat, break down, make a good tackle. That's a super play by Eugene Daniel.
And this score right now forces Carlson to start putting the ball up. And the Colts are going to play all-out rush. Here's a draw play, and they get Brown as he crosses the 30-yard line to the 32-yard line. Now it's back to New York and Greg Gumbel, right?
All right, gentlemen, at Cincinnati, Vinny Testaverde with the touchdown pass for Cleveland. Leroy Horde will find his way to the end zone from 11 yards out. And then the first two-point conversion of the new season. Holder Tom Tupa runs it in. The Browns will grab an 11-0 lead on the Bengals' second quarter. Don?
Cleveland Browns coming off a good preseason. Carrying it over into the opener today. Right now, Gary Brown has rushed for just 11 yards on 5 carries for Houston. Again, the anxious Colts looking to blitz, run blitz.
I believe this time they got the Colts. Boy, they are fired up.
Colts are pointing at the Oilers, though. I think the Oilers are marching back.
The Oilers are pointing at the Colts.
Illegal procedure on Houston.
Uh-oh. Still third down.
Threw him off.
Well, Coriad was leaning forward like he was about to sprint. Saragusa was in a sprinter stance. Houston offense has got to punch these guys a couple of times and calm them down.
The Oilers have had 2 men open deep in this game. Carlson has missed them, but they'll be going deep pretty soon. Right now it's 3rd and 9 as Carlson takes a 5-step drop. Good footwork. Now he throws to the out man, and it's not close because Slaughter can't get to the ball. Carlson feeling the pressure, throws an errant pass, and the Oilers have to punt it again.
Well, the Colts are playing such good zone defense that really the only option Cody Carlson has is to throw to the flat once he surveyed the field and realized that everybody's covered, or just heave it up as long as he could. And the 2 times that he threw it deep, he overthrew it, and the other times he was forced to throw it into the flat, and that's because of good zone play by the Colts.
There's Dewell Brewer back. His 31-yard punt return set up the only first score of this game. And the Colts have subsequently extended it to 14-0 on a 75-yard fumble return by Tony Bennett for a touchdown. Here comes Brewer. He's to the 32. Good special teams coverage by Houston. A 54-yard punt by Camarillo. And Eddie Robinson, a linebacker, was down to make the tackle. But the Oilers had a man downfield too early again. Their special teams not having a great day.
Number 52, illegally downfield. Will penalize 5 yards and re-kick.
Pardee hates mistakes, and as a 15-year player in the NFL as a linebacker, he probably made as few as any player ever made in a 15-year career. This guy was mistake-free. When he sees his team misfiring, it really rankles him.
Well, notice there's nobody else on the screen right now. Nobody wants to be next to Jack. That old linebacker's a little upset right now. A couple of things are happening that he does not like. Particularly, as you mentioned, the mistakes. That's twice that the punt team has failed him. I mean, there's nobody in the screen.
No. Camarillo's long distance, but they're testing him now as he's pushed all the way back to his 7-yard line to take the snap. He'll hit it somewhere around the 11. And Brewer's in good position here, Beasley. Being a former punt returner that you were, he's at his 37.
Absolutely. This is a game of field position. If he just catches the ball, they're in great position.
He's going to let it hop, and it kicks back upfield and out of bounds. So the underdog Colts on this opening day, a 14-0 leader over Houston on the Colts home field. Now take over the ball does Indianapolis right at the 45-yard line. Michigan coming from behind down 12-0 to beat Boston College yesterday. Ron Powlus finally took a snap last night. Did he ever? And next Saturday here on NBC Sports, number 5 Michigan and number 3 Notre Dame, presented by the U.S. Postal Service, will tee it up at Notre Dame Stadium. The Wolverines losing some great offensive players like Ty Wheatley, at least early in the season, but they got people behind them look just as good. And the handoff as a penalty marker comes in from off the play. A personal foul call is going to be against Houston. Johnny Greer, the referee, standing back there, and he rifled it in. Ray Childress looking for an explanation.
Face mask, defense. Still first down.
Tell you, if things start to get out of hand, Johnny Greer's as good as anybody I've seen keeping law and order out there. He's the sheriff out there.
He is the sheriff, and nobody argues with him. See Latham grab it right there and get just a little pull on it. But that's if you just touch the face mask, they're going to call it on you. That's a position where a player can really sustain a serious injury. Knowing Lamar Latham, it was by accident. He's a super gentleman and a super athlete, but they're going to call it every time you touch it.
That gives Jim Harbaugh an interesting down in yardage. It's first down and less than 5. Handoff, Marshall Falk finds the gap, and then he's quickly hit hard by the aforementioned Marshall Latham. And let's go back to Greg in New York.
All right, Don, in New Orleans, Marcus Allen having a terrific day so far on his 4th try from inside the 5. Career touchdown number 114, too shy of time list. Chiefs leading the Saints 14-0 in the second, Don.
Big start for Kansas City, a team that could very much be a Super Bowl team from the American Conference. The Wizards of odds-making seem to think that Buffalo is again the best team. Houston's not ducking anybody. Open on the road today. Next week they go to Irving, Texas to play the world champion Cowboys. And the Oilers the subsequent week have their home opener at the Astrodome against the other Super Bowl team, the Bills.
No, they're not ducking anybody.
And as Floyd Reese, their general manager, said to us, then the schedule starts to toughen up. Eddie Marchibroda, a master quarterback coach. He has coached many of the great ones over the years. Roman Gabriel, Sonny Jurgensen, Jim Kelly. There's more. Jeff George he thought he had the best arm of all of them, wasn't the best quarterback. And he has really got a nice looking quarterback core here in Harbaugh, Mikowski, the former Packer, and Browning Nagel, who the Jets gave up on, but who's had a very good preseason. It's second down and a yard now for Indianapolis. They go into an I set. Potts is the up back, and that's Marshall Falk now going to split the backfield. Falk likes this formation. He can see the holes, and he gets it. Dives ahead and looks like he has a first down. Another penalty marker comes in. This from the umpire, and often that indicates tight end holding. Umpire's the guy that stands facing the quarterback, and it's a holding call. I learned that from Trumpy Beasley. The umpire usually, when he fires that, it's because Trumpy had been caught a few times.
63 offense. Still second down.
Well, they got the center instead, but it still sets the Colts back. And now the ball is positioned back at their 43-yard line. We talked to Marchibroda yesterday about the differences he's seen in 34 years in the NFL as a player and then a coach. Said number one is the size of the player. They're faster than ever and they're huge. Said second, biggest difference from when he started, the complexity of the game and the number of assistant coaches, which one of the reasons there used to be maybe 3 or 4 assistants. Now some teams have 16. Here's a throw in the flat. The big play coming up to make the strike was Darrell Lewis, the right side cornerback for the Oilers.
Now that's not necessary. Darrell Lewis is elbowing the guy in the back. He made a good, strong, hard, athletic tackle. When you start helping the guy up, you don't need to knee him in the back, and that's a little bit too. I'm as much for rough play and rough housing as the next guy, but let me show you what's ridiculous. The guy's down on the ground. You're kicking him, slapping him. Cash is laughing because he outweighs the guy by 75 pounds. He could pick him up and chuck him into the end zone if he wanted to. But, when you make a great play, and then get up and walk away.
And then now it's third down and a long 8, almost 9.
Delay. Offense.
Delay of the game against the Colts, so we start to miss fire here. Jim Harbaugh protesting to Johnny Greer. The clock started too early after the penalty. But the Colts are again set back as they've now lost some momentum, but they surely had it up until this point in the game, and they lead it 14-0. The Oilers, here's Teddy Marchibroda getting a little exercise.
33 years, he's told a lot of referees off.
Carlson has thrown the ball 11 times. He's completed 5 for the Oilers for 80 yards. But they've not scored. And Harbaugh puts the pass to Marshall Faulk down to the 30. So really, Harbaugh with more impressive numbers early in the game throwing the ball than Carlson in his 80 yards.
There's another flag down on the play, but that setup by Jim Harbaugh was picture perfect.
All out blitz, and they had it red.
Personal foul. 28.
There's more on. That's a foul on Dishman.
Now look at the setup. It's an all-out blitz. He milks it, and then throws a perfect strike into Marshall Faulk. Here's another look at it. They're coming from both corners. And now look, there's nobody in the picture. Faulk tried to slow down and wait on his blocking. I mean, it was so open, it was odd. It was difficult for the running back to get into position. He couldn't even slow down to get behind his blockers.
Harbaugh makes the read and the throw, and now the Colts challenging again. Marshall Faulk. Nothing there but Oilers as he's thrown back for no gain at the 15-yard line.
Well, the Houston Oilers have got to gain or regain their composure. Stop kicking folks, personal fouls.
Marshall Faulk with 74 touchdowns in his 3 seasons at San Diego State. And then he comes in and scores in the first quarter on a run. The first time the Colts have scored in the first quarter of the game in the regular season. 22 games. Right now they have Faulk flexed out as a wide receiver at the lower portion of your screen. He's very good-handed. Harbaugh's looking at him. Now he throws over the middle, and Harbaugh's behind Floyd Turner, his intended receiver. Al Smith might have got a piece of the ball. Middle linebacker for Houston.
Another blitz by Houston. They are opening up every play in the package, in the defensive package.
Colts have been down for a long time. Now starting their 11th season since they moved from Baltimore to Indianapolis. Jim Harbaugh delighted to be here, as we mentioned earlier, after taking a lot of heat as a Chicago Bears quarterback. Right now, very much under control. He throws a timing cannon and a big play by Sean Dawkins, running a slant. The big receiver from Cal Berkeley comes down with the ball and a first down for Indianapolis.
Once again, it's a great read by Jim Harbaugh. He recognizes that his big wide receiver has one-on-one coverage to the backside. The defender is actually in perfect position, but Dawkins is a big man. He goes up, catches it high with his hand. It's good coverage. It's a good throw. It's a good catch, and sometimes that happens in the National Football League. That's nobody's fault. Just good play all around.
Execution by Harbaugh, and the underdog Colts not only have the lead over the favored Oilers, the rout could be on. They're up 20-0 in the second quarter.
That was like a right cross directly in the jaw in a heavyweight fight. What a play fake by Harbaugh, and that's what you can call a Falkism. When you've got Marshall Faulk in the backfield and you stick it in his stomach and then pull it back out, it draws attention. Everybody move over to the Faulk. Great play fake, great pass, great execution, and what's happening in Indianapolis?
I tell you, it's a stunner. Faulk, he had a chuckle. He took the fake into the line. He quick turned around. He wanted to see the play. So the Colts strike again, and they extend their lead to 21-0. The Harbaugh's having a big week. Jim Harbaugh's dad, who's the coach of Western Kentucky, they won their opener against their arch rival Eastern Kentucky Thursday night. Jim Harbaugh, playing mistake-free football in his first regular season game as a Colt, has hit 6 of 8 passes for 86 yards, and that last one for a touchdown.
It's been a long time since Harbaugh was happy. He had to put up with a lot of stuff he didn't like in Chicago.
And a long time since they've seen offense in Indianapolis. 21-0 Colts as Biasucci kicks off yet again. Spins it downfield to Travis Hanna. To the 20. Ball out in the field. Penalty marker down. Devon McDonald was the guy that separated Travis Hanna from the ball.
Well, when it first happened, clearly Indianapolis had it. Now, some big, strong men are under that pile, and there's no telling who will come up with it. But if Indy has this ball, and they do, this team is falling apart.
Yeah, why?
The Houston Oilers are imploding.
Frank Novak, the special teams coach, was next to Jack Pardee. And the strength of the Oilers, one of their strengths in recent years has been their ability to take the ball away. And Jack Pardee said to us yesterday, I asked him for a key to the game, he said, not turning the ball over and getting their turnovers, which has been just the opposite.
That is just inexcusable and unbelievable.
Devon McDonald, number 57, a linebacker from Notre Dame, working for the NFL minimum. The guy's replacing Trev Alberts, who has an $8 million deal this year with his bonus. But McDonald has been one of the standouts on the field as he has been separating people from the ball, and that time he enables the Colts to take over at the Houston 22-yard line. Harbaugh, quick out, goes to Sean Dawkins, whose last catch was for a touchdown. He's down to the 16-yard line. Eddie Robinson and Darrell Lewis were on the tackle for the Oilers. Houston really has to count on their defense now, Beasley, to get this ball back. They've got to get something from their defense.
If they don't make a play here and stop a score, this could be one of the longest afternoons this early in the season in the history of the Oilers. It's like you pointed out, they've got 2 real tough games coming up.
Yeah, Oilers go to beat the Cowboys in Irving, Texas, then play the Bills in Houston. Marshall Faulk darts his way inside the 15-yard line. He's down to the 13. Tackled by Lamar Lathan.
And the Colts are mixing it up. Quick screens down the middle of the field. Quick slants. Handoffs to Potts and to Marshall Faulk.
Jeff Fisher's defense being tested Marshall Falk, 11 carries so far today.
What, he's got 52 yards already, and in the history of the Indianapolis Colts, only 2 other runners have gained 100 yards in their debut.
Who are they? Alan Amici and Lenny Moore?
Alan Amici is one of them. I'll check the other.
Roosevelt Potts carries ahead for a first down inside the 10-yard line. Michael Barrow was on the staff, as was Indianapolis native Blaine Bishop of the Oilers.
The other player was Randy McMillan.
Oh, yeah, he went back.
That's right. Alan Amici, good call. And Randy McMillan.
Wait, no, great fit team with Green and Dorsett. Marshall Falk, nothing there. They come a hitting on the 205-pound rookie from San Diego State. Ray Childress was first man in there. They're fighting for that ball, the Oilers, as the game clock is ticking down. 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first half. Oilers, the only team in the NFL to be in the playoffs the last 7 years in succession, but they've never advanced past the second round. Last year, you know the story of the Oilers. They won their last 11 regular season games. Take another look at them piling up this Oiler defense. Went into the playoffs, had a 10-point lead on Kansas City, and then Joe Montana got it going, and the Chiefs came back to beat Houston and end that win streak. Now markers are down all over the field, and the clock is stopped with 4:02 to play in the first half.
Delay. Offense. Still second down.
That's the only mistake that the Colts offense has made today. It's the second time they've been called for delay of game. Other than that, they have been absolutely splendid.
Ted Marchibroda doesn't have much to look concerned about. Last year, this Oiler defense was #1 in sacks, #1 versus the run, #2 in forcing turnovers, and #4 in touchdowns allowed. Today, some breakdowns. The Oilers find themselves down 21-0.
Well, the Oiler defense you just described is still in Texas somewhere.
Yes, right. And all the coaches on both sides, including Marchibroda, in assessing the Houston defense, says they look better than they did a year ago in the preseason.
We have a neutral zone infraction. Left defensive end.
This is going to be like the first preseason game where there's a flag in every play.
Defensive coordinator Jeff Fisher, you were looking at. He'll be a basket case in the locker room. There won't be anybody standing next to him in the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, that won't be a lot of happy chatter in that Houston locker room.
Oh my goodness, because you got some winners on that football team that'll be cursing and throwing chairs and beating each other up.
This is an offense that can make it happen fast. They're going to be back in this. Harbaugh against the blitz, gets it away. It's good for a touchdown to Floyd Turner. A perfect throw by Harbaugh against an all-out blitz. He waited until that last possible split second and then delivered a perfect pass where only his receiver could catch it. And the Colts extend their lead to 27-0.
This is textbook in every way. Did you see that man standing there knowing that he was about to get clobbered smack in the side and deliver that ball perfectly, waiting until his receiver breaks clear? Jim Harbaugh is having a day, a major day. His offense is having a day.
9-yard scoring throw to the ex-Saint Floyd Turner. Extra point by Biasucci. Spun up and good again. And the Colts have taken command 28-0 with 3:16 to play in the half. And after the last touchdown throw by Jim Harbaugh, the Oilers now have Todd McNair on the field to return a kickoff. They've taken Travis Hanna out. He was separated from the ball in the last attempt, led to this 4th touchdown. John Henry Mills takes it at the 2. Ashley Ambrose gets him back inside the 15-yard line.
see a guy tackled at the 10-yard line very much anymore as a result of the new placement of the kicking tee. Now, on the last touchdown, take a look at number 31 on your screen. When he blitzes, he opens up a hole. He clears an area for Floyd Turner, who cuts right into that vacated spot. All Harbaugh has to do is wait and deliver. Great play, great touchdown.
Harbaugh, the #1 draft choice of the Chicago Bears 8 years ago, and he was drafted by Bill Tobin, the man who now runs the Colt organization. One of the first things he did when he came in here, Bill Tobin, was make a deal to bring in Harbaugh. Carlson with a terrific fake leaves him open. He downfields the ball, and it's intercepted by Ray Buchanan inside the 30. Still on the run. He's back to the 20-yard line. As the Colts continue to overwhelm the favorite Oilers. Pat Coleman was the intended receiver. Ray Buchanan, who was so pumped up when we met with him yesterday, we thought he was going to have to play the game yesterday afternoon in the parking lot. He couldn't wait to play.
That's one of the players that the Indianapolis Colts identified as one of the people who would have to play big for them to be successful. Well, we see that a lot of people are playing big today, and Buchanan coming up large with a great interception. This is like a nightmare. Unless you're a Colts fan, this is like, it's like Friday the 13th.
Marshall Faulk continues the bad dream for the Houston defense, taking the ball inside the 15-yard line. The second half of this game, Beasley, could tell us a lot about where the Oilers are headed this year. If this continues, you don't know where they're headed. We'll see if they come back and rise up.
Look at the nightmare here. First 6 possessions, look where they started and where they ended up. The Oilers are punting, fumbling, interception. I don't believe this. This is ridiculous.
Marshall Faulk takes it inside the 10-yard line and down to the 9.
Oh, my goodness.
Marcus Robertson gets him, but the Colts are challenging again as we're coming down close to the 2-minute warning.
Now, raise your hand at home if you thought the score would be reversed. If you figured Houston would come in here and beat these people up 28-0, raise your hand. Unbelievable.
Faulk has now run 14 times, 57 yards, and a touchdown.
So I told her about
A rather remarkable day here in the capital city of Indiana. Don Criqui with Beasley Reese as the underdog Colts, who had no offense in recent years, all of a sudden have offense, defense, special teams,
and everything else in
totally
between.
amazed Beasley Reese.
I am so upset with the Houston Oilers. I mean, I like to see a great football game, and we'll find out what they're made of. You know, when they go in that locker room, they better come out and play some football. This is unbelievable.
In a Lone Star State, they're throwing things at their TVs. Was not expected, and right now they go back to Marshall Faulk. Ted Marchibroda said of Faulk, he's a gun, and we plan to shoot him about 35 times if we can. Right at the Houston defense, as Faulk now takes his rushing for the day to 60 yards in the first half. Meeting with Faulk, he's really got his act together as a young man. I mean, he's a very positive, sure of himself, but not in a wise guy way. I mean, this guy's, as Marchibroda best summed it up, he said he's mature beyond his years. He comes from Mean Streets and he appreciates the chance to check block it. Here is Sean Dawkins on a slant. He's fouled by the Oiler defense.
Pass interference. Number 28, defense.
Dishman, one of the best, gets called for the foul.
Well, if I had to pick a cornerback to play on my football team, I'd pick that man right there. And boy, he had a tough preseason with penalties, and he's got a tough one here, hanging all over Dawkins. Good call. Bad play by a great cornerback.
Now the Colts, point blank, 34-0. Native Texan Beasley Reese sits here stunned. disbelieving.
Well, let me tell you, the folks in Waco, Texas, my hometown, are kicking over spittoons right now. Everybody's mad. Marshall Faulk, what a day for a rookie. What a debut. What a way to make your presence known in the National Football League. A couple of touchdowns, 60 yards rushing already. The boy's got some talent.
Tell you, the Oilers with this score, 35-0, and the Cowboys on the road next week, and then the Buffalo Bills the following week. They could be in a deep hole to start this 94 kickoff season. Great second look now coming up. Our producer today for NBC Sports is John McGinnis, our director Kelly Atkinson, executive producer Tommy Roy, and Marshall Faulk on the payoff end for a second time.
Man, talk about taking the high road. Here's a better look at it. Sees a crack. He just jumps over Roosevelt Potts.
He's got speed, he's got quickness, he's got hops. He can get up.
The only way he can't go is under.
Yeah.
He can go to left, right, and over.
He might be able to do that. Better than advertised. Marshall Faulk and the Colts. A real sad story the last couple of years, particularly last season when they were 4-12. All of a sudden, looks like a contender.
Take a look at the scoring folks today. All newcomers. The coach spent their money in the right places. Faulk with 2, Bennett a free agent with a touchdown, and Turner getting in the end zone. Boy, that's unbelievable. When you saw Marshall Brody, he had that cool strike.
Yeah.
He had that cool strike. 63 years old, 33 years in the league, and everything's going his way, and he's cool right now.
Showing that victory package.
He got that victory package working. He was telling us that a couple years ago when we came in down to do games with him, he had to kind of fib a little bit and be positive. Last year he had to, tell a couple of little white lies. This year he told us, Beasley and Dunn, we have a football team, and we see what he means.
Big guy just saw wandering in front of him before was Tom Zupancic, the strength coach. There he is, Zupancic.
Oh, look at that.
He can only bench press 600 pounds.
Oh, is that all?
One of the strongest men in the world.
Well, he's got his team strong.
Everybody wonders why they don't suit him up. Again, they kick off to Mills. A well-placed kickoff by Viasucci. Mills returning it well. And a penalty marker goes down as the ball is out to the 38-yard line. And we'll see what this call is with 1 minute and 12 seconds left to go in the first half. The Domino's halftime report is coming up with Greg Gumbel and the Super Bowl winning coaches Mike Ditka and Joe Gibbs. And in the disbelieving column, this game certainly will be filed. Scores and highlights, and the LA Raiders receiving corps, which is faster than most Olympic relay teams. Jet. Brown. Miss Ismail. Wright. Got the fastest guys in the NFL. Which helps if you can get him the ball, and now they seem to have a quarterback that can do that.
Number 43 kicking team. Holding number 47 of the receiving team. They'll offset and will re-kick.
Going to re-kick the ball on offsetting penalties.
Well, a little aside, players hate it when you have to run back down on a kickoff. I mean, that's one of the most dangerous plays in the game. It's a 60-yard sprint through people.
Colts with 68 yards rushing, the Oilers with just 15. Marshall Faulk has 4 times the rushing yards of the entire Oilers team, 60 to 15. And Brown, 1,000-yard rusher for the Oilers a season ago, who averaged over 5 a carry, has just 11 yards and 5 carries today. Gary Brown. Next Sunday, NBC Sports presents an action-packed NFL doubleheader beginning at 12:30 Eastern Time with NFL Live. Then most of you will see Barry Foster and the Steelers take on the Cleveland Browns. Others will see the Colts and the Tampa Bay Bucks, while still others will see the Dolphins go against the Packers. A doubleheader day next Sunday on NBC Sports. This is the final minute and 12 seconds continues to drag on until we get things sorted out here.
They've decided not to re-kick the ball. So the Houston Oilers take possession on the 30.
Seattle a surprise leader at Washington 21-7. Cleveland with a big lead at Cincinnati 25-7. Bears holding to a 14-3 lead over Tampa Bay. Big surprise right here, 35-0 Indianapolis over Houston. Fighting to get out of bounds is Ernest Gibbons. He didn't do it though, and the clock continues to wind down to a minute to play in the first half.
And Ashley Ambrose that time came up and made the tackle on him, keeping the game to a minimum, something that he failed to do in the first quarter. Good job that time.
Carlson gets time. He fires it to the sideline. Nicely executed, quickly turning out and stopping the clock. Haywood Jeffries, who had only 66 receptions last year. That's been low for him recently. In 91, he had 100.
42 seconds left on the clock. The Colts are in that prevent defense that fans get so mad about. You've been stopping a team all game long, all half long. And you back off and soften up your zones and let them catch it in front of you.
Even a field goal, if they could just go in with something. Here's a throw and a hit right on time. A marker comes in from the back judge, who was 50 yards from the play.
He was one breath too soon. It was a super break on the ball by Ashley Ambrose, but he got there one half heartbeat too soon.
Colts with 68 yards rushing. That's more than they averaged a game last season. About what they averaged a game, and 97 yards passing. But their overall play, special teams play, the quality of the hitting, freeing up the ball, knocking fumbles free, intercepting. Downfield throw, nicely done to Jeffries. It's a first down for the Oilers to the 23-yard line. Another penalty marker comes in after the play. Now they pick it up. There's Kevin Gilbride, the offensive coordinator for the Oilers.
And this time they go to man-for-man coverage. This is a great look at it. He's spun all the way around by Haywood Jeffries, but still in great position. Eugene Daniels almost missed the tackle, but really that's one of the most beautiful parts of football for me, is watching a couple of guys go at it man for man. You could see how alone they were. Nobody else was in the picture. Good route, halfway decent coverage, and a good play. But that's what Cody Carlson is looking for. He's looking for one-on-one opportunities, and the Colts have not given him many. But if he can find them with the quality receivers they have in Houston, they can normally take advantage of it.
Oilers have also added a pass offense coach in Dick Corey. One of the things they were hoping to do today was throw the ball a lot to Pat Carter, their tight end. But because of the lopsidedness of the score, they had to go back to the complete run and shoot and just start firing away with 4 wide receivers. That's how they're aligned now, and first down and 10 with only 29 seconds left to play in the first half. Carlson running out of time. He dumps it off. Gary Brown on the run, but a penalty marker is down in the Houston backfield. Now another marker comes in after the play.
In terms of penalties, this has been a sloppy football game. The flags have been everywhere.
Once again, we have to have an official ruling here now as they huddle to find out what all went wrong. It was a lot. There are 3 markers down on the field. Jack Pardee waiting for the bad news. There hadn't been much good news for the Oilers today, none that I can think of.
We've had more huddles among the officials today.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense. They'll offset. We'll replay.
Once again, for the 5th time, I think we've had offsetting penalties. Vince Tobin had to be proud of his defense.
Oh,
pitching a shutout through almost 2 quarters of play.
Against what has been a scoring machine historically.
Kevin Gilgras I asked Kevin yesterday, what team have you done particularly well against moving the ball with the run and shoot? He said every one of them. The record shows that is true. Move the ball on everybody. Ooh. Off the hands of Haywood Jeffries, who never went into the air for the ball. He just reached up and let it carry him off his hands.
Well, there was no reason for that pass to be too high. But Jeffries knows here, he's probably just, well, it really wasn't too high. He just missed it. Yeah, he just took his eye off of it. A little lack of concentration.
He's talked about he wants to be called on to be the leader of this team this year. They need some leadership from him now and some other people too, as the Oilers down 35-0. 15 seconds to go in the half. We'll be firing towards the end zone. Here's Carlson. And again, penalty markers fly into the air and the whistles come before the snap of the ball. Siragusa of the Colts thinks it's against Houston.
False start.
It was.
73 offense.
David Williams nabbed for the call. Both linebackers show blitz. Take a look at the top of your screen. There's David kind of sneaking back.
Everybody knows pass play is coming. Colts getting a big rush. Tony Bennett, their new acquisition, really only 240 pounds as he's playing as a defensive right end at the lower portion of the screen. Number 56, he has a fumble recovery and return for a 75-yard touchdown. Carlson throws. And there is Oiler timing at its best. Ball delivered right on the mark to Haywood Jeffries, who falls out of bounds to stop the clock.
Uh-oh, they changed the call.
Now they change it. Well, it's opening day for the officials, too.
Uh-oh. Well, there's only one way we can figure this thing out, and that's to take another look at this. He's dragging a toe beautifully. Oh my goodness, that's gorgeous.
That really is.
That's absolutely picture book perfect. Did you see him drag that toe?
Yeah, that's.
Here's another look. Look, dragging. Oh, that's gorgeous. I got to give a man that catch. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, well, we go to the replay if we had one. We have it, but the officials don't.
Woo!
That's what the commissioner, Paul Tagliabue, said. If we take replay away, television still has it, but the officials don't have recourse. Now, Carlson stands in, fires downfield, and again he makes a connection down to the 10-yard line. It's a first down, but just 2 seconds are left. So the Colts will have one chance to fire to the end zone, but wait. See on the field. It is.
Oh, no. I tell you, it gets to the point where you have to start feeling bad for Houston. That's unbelievable.
If you're an Oiler fan, bad news never stops. For the Colts, the fun never stops today.
Holding. 77 offense.
Kevin Donnelly.
Still third down.
You know what? Kevin can't deny this one. Find him on the right side of your screen. Second lineman in. I mean, he's got a power grab.
Yeah, it's a takedown.
It's a takedown.
It's a takedown.
It's a WWF.
What does the lineman say? It's only holding if you get caught. They could get somebody every play. It's like Pop Warner right now. That's coming on the field, going off the field. What do we have? We have 2 seconds showing on the clock. And most stunning of all, on kickoff 94, this first Sunday of the NFL season, is the score. Colts 35, Oilers nothing. Al Del Greco, the best golfer in the NFL, also one of the best place kickers, coming off a terrific year. When he set a record for points in a season, 129 for the Oilers, broke the previous mark that George Bland and Zendejas had, 115 points. Four from over 50 last year. They only have have to hit a big one here. Be a 56-yarder. 56-yard drive for the Oilers. Down the way, it has not quite enough. Falls just short of the crossbar. So the shutout continues as Marshall Faulk in a triumphant opening day leads the field, his team a 35-0 leader. Now let's go to Greg Gumbel of New York for the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. When it's gotta be good and it's gotta be now, it's gotta be Domino's.
Welcome, everyone. Those of you who have been watching that explosion in Indianapolis by the Colts, Greg Gumbel, Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, welcome to our halftime report here in New York. The Kansas City Chiefs and New Orleans Saints are doing battle down in the Superdome, and right now it's the Chiefs leading the Saints by a score of 17-3. Two guys stand out in this. Marty Schottenheimer is looking on as he watches his troops perform, and he goes for it on 4th and 1 from the Saints 40. Marcus Allen for 13 yards to the 27. Allen gained 45 yards on this drive alone. And then Montana to Willie Davis for 11 yards and the touchdown that completes the 15-play, 80-yard drive. The Chiefs led by a score of 7-0. Kansas City scored again on its next possession, and it was Marcus Allen with the 1-yard run. He caps a 59-yard drive. 14-0 Chiefs. Allen, 61 yards and a touchdown rushing in the first half. Montana, 12 of 15 for 131 yards in the first half. And so far, you know, it's easy to look good on the first day. The question is whether these guys can sustain that.
Well, I'll tell you right now, age is serving Marty very well. He made two great additions to the football team a year ago, and that was Montana and that was Marcus Allen. Those two guys are playing great football.
All right, Mike, at the Meadowlands, the Giants and the Eagles are 21-10 now is the score. The Giants are leading the Eagles. Eagles have scored just before halftime on a Randall Cunningham to Mark Bavaro pass, but it was set up by a 94-yard Cunningham to Herschel Walker pass play. At Indianapolis, the game that you are watching, the Colts are leading the Houston Oilers by a score of 35-0 at halftime. Joe, is this all adrenaline, or are the Colts this good?
Well, being a alumnus of San Diego State, I love Marshall Faulk here in this opener. I think they found something here, and we talked about the trade of Moon and all the things that are going on in Houston. I think they have problems.
Mike, that old Chicago Bear, Jim Harbaugh, is 8 of 10 for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Harbaugh can do the job because they gave him, first of all, a great running back, a good offensive line, and a good solid defense under Vince Tobin. He'll do the job for him.
All right, Mike, at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, the Packers, who got Sterling Sharp back before game time today, are leading the Vikings at halftime by a 13-0 score. Sharp has caught 6 passes for 45 yards and 1 touchdown. RFK Stadium in Washington, the Redskins.
And back at the RCA Dome, Don Criqui with Beasley Regional ready for the second half kickoff, and the Oilers will have to kick the ball off. So the Colts, with their 35-0 lead, will start the third quarter of possession of the ball. Oilers fans all remember that playoff game when the Colts had a 32-point lead on the Bills at Buffalo, 35-3, and Buffalo came back to win. The Colts have seen dramatic comebacks, albeit not by themselves, but with this firepower on their offense, you got to think something's going to happen the Colts way in the second half. It can't go all this way. By the Oilers' way, something has to start breaking Houston's way. And stepping up into the ball now is El Del Greco. A high-spinning kickoff is knocked downfield, and Dewell Brewer takes it across the 20, breaks it into the open field, and he's all the way out to the 36-yard line. There's a penalty marker down. Most amazing first half. At halftime, I had a chance to talk with Bum Phillips, who's now a radio broadcaster, the former Oiler coach. So what do you think of this whole thing? He says, well, I was at the circus one time when the bears got loose. He said, you don't know what's going to happen.
Only Bum Phillips could come up with that one.
Says like the day the bears got loose, but from a Colts standpoint, last year in the last 7 games, they scored a total of 2 touchdowns, and they scored 4 in the second quarter today.
I tell you, I cannot believe what I am seeing. I mean, this is one of the most prolific scoring offenses in the history of the National Football League, and they are totally inept today.
Now Jim Harbaugh, who had a brilliant first half, running the offense of the Colts, gets set. First down and 10 from the 24-yard line. Marshall Faulk. They get him, but not before he is able to angle sideways ahead for a gain of about 4 yards. And now we'll take a look at our Coors Light halftime stats.
I'll tell you, the one that jumps out at me right away is the turnovers. You know, 3 turnovers by the Oilers, and everything that the Oilers have done did in the first half resulted in a touchdown. So you know all 3 of those resulted in touchdowns. And then an example of moving the chain, the Colts with 14 first downs, and I don't know when they've done that.
Gain of actually 5 where they spot the ball for Marshall Faulk. 2nd and 5. Faulk again. I tell you, he reminds you so much of an Emmitt Smith or a Thurman Thomas. That unbelievable ability to just at full speed cut back.
Boy, there's a loping style, and then when he recognizes the full block, watch a little skip cut. See that cut? That's special. I mean, most people have to plant a foot and then drive to cut. The great ones can throw their body at an angle almost 45 degrees, stick both feet at the same time, and it's kind of a skipping, loping cut. You can make more dramatic cuts using that, but it's very difficult to do.
You got to think the Colts are going to want to run the ball here in the second half with this big lead. Keep it away from that high-scoring offense. Now Roosevelt Potts sees something he didn't like in the defense, and he makes a very smart call because Harbaugh quickly followed him and called a timeout. And we're back and set to go. 3rd and short for the Colts. They give to Marshall Faulk, and he is stood up on a straight-ahead strike. Linebackers filling quickly. Dre Childress was also on the play as they were reading number 38 all the way. And the middle linebacker, Al Smith, one of the best. Pro Bowl alternate last January, makes the head-on stop. And so the Colts are stopped on their opening drive of the 3rd quarter, and they'll now have to punt the ball to Houston. This is the first Colt punt of the game. And it's the first time today, Beasley, that the Colts have not converted a 3rd down. They were 5 for 5 on previous 3rd downs.
See, that is an unbelievable accomplishment. And then for this to be their first punt is unbelievable on behalf of the Houston Oilers defense not to have stopped these guys at all. Now the fans are screaming, go.
4th and inches. It's unlikely he's going to do it with his quarterback off the field. And Ron Stark into punt, one of the best. He is the 4th all-time leading punter in the NFL in his 13th year. Travis Hanna, number 82, is back. Been over 3 seasons since Ron Stark's had a punt blocked. They're coming for it, but he gets it away. A left footer. He pounds the ball. Mile high. Travis Hanna fields it. Both arms on the ball after an earlier fumble. A 52-yard punt and a 7-yard return.
You say 52. In that case, that's 52 yards in the air. That's an amazing punt.
That's in the line of scrimmage. He had another 15.
Oh,
from where he kicked it.
What a punt.
You see Carlson's numbers, 118 yards passing in the first half, but no score. No points on the board for the high-scoring Oilers, the normally high-scoring Oilers. I mentioned earlier, Cody Carlson in his starting days, over 14 previous starts as a backup to Warren Moon, was 10-4 as a starter. Goes to a timing pattern to Haywood Jeffries, a quick out. A very deep zone being played now by Indianapolis, Beasley, as they don't want to let that long ball get him.
No, that was an excellent break on the ball by Daniel, but he was giving Jeffries about a 5, 6, 7 yard cushion on the play, and Cody wisely takes exactly what they give him. See how quickly Daniel's look at that break on the ball. That's an excellent recovery technique is what they call it, what defensive backs call it, to get back to the play.
Carlson on 2nd down, another timing throw, this time to Webster Slaughter, and he's out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
All but one of Cody Carlson's completions, every one of them except for one pass, has been little short routes right on the sideline underneath the zone. The Colts are playing there in such excellent position in their zone coverage
that Cody basically has nowhere to go. He's taking what the defense gives him, and so far the defense has only given him short completions.
30-year-old Cody Carlson, his first NFL appearance was in this building. Back in '88, he came in when Warren Moon was dinged, and he led the Oilers to an overtime victory. Almost an regular time pass for a touchdown as Ashley Ambrose breaks on the ball, had both hands on it in an open track to the end zone. But it goes an incomplete pass as Carlson's now 10 for 20 for 127 yards.
What a smart play by Ashley. He knows that it's a blitz. Jeff Arad was coming, so Ashley knows that if Cody reads it, he's going to audible to a quick out or a quick in. So basically, he simply squatted on the ball, broke in front of it, and almost made a big play.
And Camarillo is back on the field to punt. He hits a high punt downfield. It's going to force a fair catch by Dual Brewer. Back at the 20-yard line. So when we return to the RCA Dome, the Colts will have the ball again. There is Steve Entman, who was the #1 player picked in the entire NFL draft 3 years ago. Now recovering from a knee injury, his second major knee operation, but he's been pronounced by the physicians ready to practice again. He's been practicing and will be back this season. He was hurt last year. At the University of Washington, a tremendous player. He and Coriat were drafted 1-2 by the Colts in the first round the same year. As the Colts go back to the run on first down. Roosevelt Potts takes it straight ahead, and Lamar Lathan is the man who brings him down. There's been troubles for the Colts in recent first-round selections. Back in '89, Andre Rison had a great season, but went to Atlanta in a trade that gave him the draft rights to Jeff George, and they picked him. That didn't work out. Unfortunately, tragic loss to Shane Curry's life. He was shot down in cold blood by an unknown assailant. And more recently, things are starting to work out. Dawkins starting to come on in his second season, who is the wide receiver. Coriat, who missed 9 games, is a rookie with a fractured wrist. He's played terrific football. And Marshall Faulk looks to be everything they expected when they drafted him. He again is a wide receiver to the lower portion of your screen, Faulk. Here's a blitz. Harbaugh stands in. Now he's in trouble, and they get him back at the 19-yard line. And that gives us time to go to New York for this update. Greg?
All right, Don. In New Orleans, Jim Everett, 13 yards to Wesley Wells. His first touchdown pass as a member of the Saints. 17-10 Chiefs. Inside the 5. We're in the third quarter. Don?
Okay, a big opener there at the Superdome in New Orleans, and here at the RCA Dome, which unfortunately is well short of a sellout. So Indiana fans, except in the northern part of the state in South Bend and Fort Wayne, aren't seeing this game. And it's been a cold show from start so far into the third quarter. Here's a long ball downfield, intercepted. It's picked off. Now they're going to rule he was down, and you talked about you take Dishman over anybody in the league as a covered corner, Beasley, and he just showed his greatness there.
Well, that was excellent position. A great deal of incidental contact throughout that play. Dishman, is very difficult for Dishman. You see at the bottom of your screen there to just hang on, because Dawkins is a big guy. Take a look at the balance. I'll tell you what, that looks like an interception.
This next Saturday at 2:30 Eastern Time here on NBC Sports. Right now, the Oilers with Cody Carlson from the shotgun. Passes in the flat. Webster Slaughter makes the catch, but for very little yardage as he's hemmed in and taken down.
You know, I thought Notre Dame was having a lot of trouble beginning that game last night. But boy, they turned it on in the second half of play.
Well, Northwestern is a well-coached team, and they spend their whole off-season preparing for that one game. That's their one shot at national TV.
Yeah.
Lou Holtz lamenting the Irish didn't run the ball. Northwestern outgained them. Some of these coaches that saw Notre Dame in their spring game think it's a definite contender to win everything. Some of the pro coaches.
Oh my
Huge hit on Carlson. And Cody is down as Tony McCoy, a player they were very concerned about blocking. That 6-foot, 280-pound tackle from Florida. He's just so quick. He beats the block, and that time he got a clean lick on the QB.
Oh man, he's had to sit back down. That was a major league strike.
We'll be watching it again as you see Bucky Richardson.
Gracious.
Warming up.
You don't want this to happen to you.
Just as he releases, in comes
coming
the hit.
around on a blitz. He never saw him. My goodness. That was an ET, an in-tackle stunt, where McCoy comes from the right side of your screen and folds all the way around, so Cody never saw him coming. Oh, my goodness.
In the recent days, one of the backups, Sean Salisbury, was cut by the Oilers. He was signed and is in uniform today for the Minnesota Vikings. The backup, a very popular player in Houston, Bucky Richardson, third-year player out of Texas A&M, and Bucky's getting set to come in. Looks like Cody's all right. Cody telling us yesterday he was in Namibia in Africa on with his wife on a vacation when he got the word that he was now the starting quarterback for the Oilers, that Warren Moon was leaving for Minnesota. I'm not sure if he remembers all that right now.
You remember McCoy stripped Cody of the ball when Bennett picked it up and ran it in. McCoy this time on an in-tackle stunt coming from the left side of the formation all the way around to the right to Cody's blind side and absolutely flattens him. Oh, my goodness.
His left shoulder's about him. That's not his throwing shoulder. He's a right-hander. That's the one that hit the ground, though, with Tony McCoy.
Penny Petru is a
3 touchdowns in his debut performance in the regular season for the Colts, and here is number 3.
The benefit of a 2-foot cut. There's one, and there's one. And then some power at the end. When you learn to cut on 2 feet, watch this. Here it again. Where's one? There's one, and there's one. You can make dramatic cuts, and it's a natural thing that only the great ones have. Thurman Thomas does it so well. Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, Marshall Faulk, and yes, I'm putting him in the same company right now. Wow.
23 carries, 143 yards for Marshall Faulk, and 3 touchdowns as John Henry Mills runs it back for the Oilers and gets to the 29-yard line where Damon Watts, the rookie free agent from Indiana, makes the tackle. Now Bucky Richardson brings the Oiler offense back out after some final counsel from Kevin Gilbride. Tonight on NBC, it's Police Academy 6, City Under Siege at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And then the motion picture Confession, the 2 Faces of Evil, based on a true story. That's all tonight on NBC. Double feature of movie hits tonight on NBC as Richardson takes a look. He's got nothing but trouble. Dumps it off. Tries to get it out to Gary Brown and does get it in his direction, but it's ruled incomplete. Tony Bennett putting the heat on again. One of the things the Colts talked about yesterday, it's pretty significant, I think, Beasley, was the fact that off a 4-12 season a year ago, in fact, they won 4 preseason games, all 4, and came from behind 3 times. As Bill Tobin, their general manager, said, even though they don't count, it did build our confidence. We knew we could win.
Well, they are a confident squad today. You can see it in practice, you see it in their play.
Richardson stands in, dumps it up the middle, and it's incomplete, trying to get Gary Brown. And at this point, the Oilers' offense is almost totally inept. They're just unable to move the ball.
Whenever they were perfect in preseason, the last time in '89, they finished with an 8-8 season. They're playing today like maybe they could do what they did back in '65 when they went 10-3-1. Wow.
One of the highest scoring teams in NFL history in recent years, the Oilers still with nothing on the board. Richardson gets out of trouble. Look at Corriette go after him, but Richardson has a lot of speed, and he moves ahead for a first down and then bails out. A good scramble by Bucky Richardson, and the Oilers get a much-needed first down. 17-yard gain on the play.
And I believe that Ernest Givens is down after making a tremendous block to help his teammate out. And here comes Ernest leaning in. He kind of catches the block with his head a little bit. And as a result, fine performer Ernest Givens is a little shaken up right now.
Year after year, Ernest Givens is one of the league leaders in courage, undersized, but
absolutely
nobody goes over the middle like he does, takes shots, gets knocked out. A few minutes later, he's right back in the game, catching more balls over the middle. Travis Hanna's going to go in to replace him.
Ernest Givens is coming back, trying to stop Ray Buchanan from hitting his quarterback. You see, he comes up, and because he's not used to blocking, he hits with his head, which is always dangerous. You never want to hit with your head. He's not accustomed to blocking. He should have put his shoulder pad on the player. That's why that's where the most protection is. So any young football players out there looking, you don't play football with your head. You play with your shoulders and your shoulder pad. So that's a quick way to get what they call a neck burn or a pinched nerve. Or
Cody Carlson, the starting quarterback for the Oilers, is right now being x-rayed in the locker room for an injury to his left shoulder. Ernest Givens is really dinged there. Incidentally, that was the first down rushing today for the Houston Oilers, and it came on a quarterback scramble. Next Sunday, join NBC Sports for NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern Time. Host Greg Gumbel will be joined by some Super Bowl champion coaches Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, and co-host Ahmad Rashad. Dallas Cowboys Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman will be the focus of our attention as they chase after a third consecutive Super Bowl title. And they'll be meeting the Oilers here on NBC. That's all next Sunday, starting at 12:30 Eastern Time. Travis Hanna gets the ball, and he is down. Stop forward progress, and the clock continues to run with 4:05 to go in the third quarter. So a long way to go. Vince Tobin's defense continues to pitch a shutout.
Well, and the likelihood of Houston getting on track now is very, very slim. You have to remember that Tobin's defense is facing a quarterback now who gets limited snaps in practice. They probably had to cut down on the game plan just a little bit because Bucky doesn't get the benefit of getting the reps with the #1 team and the number of reps that the #1 quarterback gets.
Richardson takes another look, throws downfield, and he makes a connection down to the 28-yard line. Eugene Daniel with the stop, but a good play coming back to the ball by Haywood Jeffries. Been to the Pro Bowl 3 straight years. 100 receptions in 91, 90 receptions in 92, tailed off to 66 receptions last season. That was his 4th reception of this day. First down, Oilers. Another stunt. Coriat gets Richardson, and he does well just to throw the ball to an empty part of the field. Linebackers, these pass rushers are so fast. Coriat, Tony Bennett.
Coriat has been placed in a new position this year with the change to the 4-3, as we see in isolation here. And Jeffries actually had Daniels, but Bucky, under such duress, he couldn't see it. Jeffries slowed down and faked as if he was going to break out, then exploded. Coriat applying the pressure from the outside in his new position as an outside linebacker. Harrod moving to the middle.
Richardson backpedaling, lets it go downfield, and he's not close to anybody. And now a penalty marker comes in from off the play. Again, a back judge throws it down.
Now that play was the result of somebody upstairs recognizing what we recognized, that Jeffries had his man beat. They tried to come back to the same side, and this time it didn't work. It was one play too late.
Might be that Chuck rule that's been the lament of all these defensive backs.
He said that contact, his microphone's not working, but he said that the contact was made outside of the 5-yard zone. And here we'll see. There's some pretty good contact. So apparently he was more than 5 yards or more than 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage there.
Richardson sees something in the defense he doesn't like, so he has to call a timeout. Richardson with a beautiful throw over the middle. And little Travis Hanna. This is that Pat Coleman who comes down to the 15-yard line and gets a first down for Houston.
Pat Coleman with very, very good quickness, playing in place of a couple of banged-up guys. Wellman, Slaughter, all of these guys. Coleman is also one of the slot receivers. Courageous catch over the middle and pretty good little effort after the run.
Yes, it was. Beautifully done, and Coleman gets out of bounds, stops the clock. Now a straight-ahead give. They try to catch the Colts in an all-out pass rush. Gary Brown runs the ball down close to the 12-yard line. Talking about that Chuck rule, it's interesting. Pardee was saying yesterday that Chuck rule calls against his team cost him the last 2 preseason games, including that finale against the Raiders at the Astrodome.
It has been really tough on defenses to adjust to these new rules, but they'll get it down, and once again, they'll take over the game.
Richardson takes a look. He finds a man. It's Haywood Jeffries, who's inside the 5-yard line for a first down, first and goal now for the Oilers.
Now, I know that the Houston Oilers have moved on beyond Warren Moon and all that's over, but watch this. The receiver is open now. The ball should be there now. See, that's late, and every play has been like that. Every play today, whether it's Cody or Bucky, the receiver is standing there waiting for the ball. With Warren, things were thrown on time and a little bit crisper.
But a ball on the field, and Gary Brown does well just to fall on it and save possession. But instead of first and goal from the 3, it is now second and goal from the 10. See where they mark it, right at the 10-yard line. Delay a game call.
This is a weird play.
I guess the Colts on this play.
The ball just rolls past Bucky here. What a weird snap.
It's almost like there was no snap.
It's almost like it was a trick play.
Defense.
It's almost as if that was a trick play. They were going to try to snap it back to Brown off the snap.
Well, if you got some in your bag of tricks now, Beasley, you better use them. Everything comes out at this point.
They got 16 minutes to win this game, and they need to score like a touchdown a minute.
Draw him up on the AstroTurf. Brown didn't get there, and there's a free ball. Colts might have it. They do. The shutout continues. A former A&M Aggie, Quentin Coriat, comes up with the ball.
All right, we've got another meeting. This is meeting number 12 for the referee.
They've had more huddles. Hold on, my friends.
On the field. Defense.
Derwin Gray came running in there late for Indianapolis, and they ruled he was the 12th man on the field, so the fumble is negated, and the Oilers get back the ball in this comedy of errors.
Vince Tobin, I wouldn't be standing next to the defensive coordinator now. Oh, me. His shutout is in jeopardy as a result of 12 men on the field.
Hey, you got to do something wrong once in a while. This team has played near perfect football.
Well, but look at Tobin. He's saying, son, what are you thinking? I won't repeat what he might have said there.
They want that shutout. Gary Brown getting set to take it in now for Houston to get them on the board for the first time. Here's Brown, and he is down to the goal line, and he's in. A 1-yard touchdown lunge by Gary Brown, and the Oilers at long last are on the board. And Vince Tobin is really still hot over. Well, here's another penalty.
Offense.
Oh.
Number 6.
Oh, my
don't believe this.
Vince Tobin, we were mentioning, was coaching his son's Little League team when he was out of football a year ago. He probably didn't see this many penalties in that game.
The Houston Oilers should take this game film and have a public burning. This is unbelievable.
Normally, teams, if they have a good game on the road, will watch it on the plane on the way back, watch the game. I think they'll have Police Academy 6 on the game. Looks like Police Academy 6.
Oh, my.
Guys shooting firearms up in the air and pigeons falling. So the Oilers will try again to score. It's first and goal from outside the 6. Incomplete.
Great coverage.
And no flag. Ambrose breaks it up. Intended receiver was number 89, Reggie Brown.
Ashley Ambrose and Eugene Daniel, these guys have played one whale of a football game. We're talking about against some very talented receivers. But once again, I go back to my point, Don. The quarterbacks have been late throwing the ball. It's been hard to find people open.
Draw play to Brown. He's close, but only to the 2-yard line. That brings up third and goal.
When you run a draw play out of that formation with 4 wide receivers, what you the defense across the length of the football field, that you create some natural running lanes. And they got a little bit, gained some yardage out of that, but not what they were looking for. Not to the end zone.
When you think we're looking at 4-down situation here, we're not looking at any field goals, are we?
No, we're not looking at field goals unless...
That'll do it for 3 quarters of play. They'll come down to the other end and try to score. As after 3 quarters of play, the Colts lead 42-0. 3 touchdowns for Marshall Faulk. We'll be back after these messages and a word from our local stations.
It's got the speed of speed and superheroes to save the day.
Tricky with Beasley Reese back in Indianapolis. Good news for Cody Carlson. While he'll not play again today, the x-rays have indicated there is no fracture in his left shoulder. Just a bad bruise, so Cody, with that ice down, comes back to the playing field. X-rays were negative on his left shoulder. Richardson takes a look into the end zone, and he's got John Henry Mills, but wait. The ever-present yellow flag came flying in like a big bird again.
Well, that's big Pat Carter.
Pat Carter got it, excuse me. 46.
Yes, Pat Carter with the touchdown catch. We'll see the ruling.
Holding, 57.
It'll go. Play goes.
The touchdown's good.
So Carter gets the Oilers on the board for the first time today. Big tight end who came in from the Los Angeles Rams, running open in the end zone. And 5 seconds into the 4th quarter, the high-scoring Oilers finally have their first points of the day. Going for 2.
Once again, spreading it. Create some lanes or pass.
A throw and a catch. Nicely done by the Oilers. Reggie Brown, a sure-handed receiver from Alabama State, makes the 2-point conversion, and it's 42-8 Indianapolis. Side kick being attempted now, would appear, by the Houston Oilers as they just put up their first 8 points of the game on a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Nicely done, but it's fielded beautifully. They had the Hams team up front, a lot of wide receivers and defensive backs. And so the Colts field the ball and take over possession on the Houston side of the field at the 43-yard line.
Well, everybody you see in the picture there is the 40s, 30s, or 80s. Like you said, Don, that's the Hams team. It's all the people that normally handle the football.
Looks like Marshall might be done for the day. What a day.
And what a day. In the history of the Colts, rookie debut, we talked about it earlier, Alan Amici, the one that the veteran Don Criqui identified immediately. We had to look up Randy McMillan, and Marshall Faulk joins that company.
Well, I know Allen, unfortunately the late Allen now, but I'm on the Heisman Trophy committee. He's one of the winners.
Right.
Of course, it was a great one for Wisconsin. Well, Matt Warren, the rookie runner from Colorado, runs the ball, cutting back to the 41-yard line. Andy Davidson was on the stop. This guy Warren, he's a real find. I mean, they got him in the 6th round. He's a little bit undersized. He's only about 184. Terrific ability, though. You talked about if your defense lets down, how Marshall can break one, and immediately did. Well, this guy can do the same thing. He is a long-distance threat with the ball. Lamont Warren, number 21. The 39-yard line. Upended by Keith McCants.
McCants getting a little playing time. Former #1 draft choice of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Take a look at the rushing yards for the coach. It's a super job today. In '93, they on average, they'd never broke 100 yards. Today, 173, and now they are throttling it down with almost a full quarter to go. That was their game plan, was to build it around the rushing of Marshall Faulk and Roosevelt Potts, and allow Jim Harbaugh to just make short possession passes and use his experience that is working to perfection.
Harbaugh, he has the ball knocked down to the line of scrimmage, and here's another penalty marker down. There's been a revamping of the Colts coaching staff. There's 7 new coaches, but every area of this team has been so well prepared today. The head coach, Ted Marchibroda, his assistants are Tom Batta, Greg Blake, Ron Blackledge, Fred Bruni, Gene Huey, Jim Johnson, Hank Coleman, Nick Nicolau, the offensive coordinator, Jimmy Robinson, a former teammate of yours with the Giants, Pat Thomas, Vince Tobin, the defensive coordinator, and the big guy, the strength coach, Tom Zupancic.
Well, they are to be congratulated. Also, Bill Tobin.
Will Wolford right there. He had an interesting observation yesterday. We met with him. I said, what's been the difference in the team this year? He said, #1, a completely different attitude. This is the guy who was a 4-time Pro Bowl player with the Bills. But we have guys here this year that really want to play and want to win. Last year, there was a lot of guys here looking for something to go wrong. Penalty markers down as they try to go deep to Sean Dawkins. Covering on the play was number 29, Darrell Lewis of the Oilers, but apparently that downfield bump Beasley got him.
Well, see, to me, that's incidental. I just... The guy took... see, then I don't like this call. Maybe I better wait until I see it again, but this guy had good position. He recognized that the wide receiver was going deep. He replaced his steps, his intended path. And take a look. You'll get a good look at it. Ball's in the air. All the defensive back did was jumped in front of him to cut off his path. Wide receiver runs up his back. I mean, the guys are already at a tremendous disadvantage. And to take away their ability to use some of the tricks is just not fair.
Lamont Warren gets the call, looking for a gap, shoots down to the 20-yard line. Knocked down by Glenn Montgomery of the Oilers. 42-8. It was 35-0 at the half, and the Indianapolis Colts, who had scored only 2 touchdowns in their previous 7 games last season, had 4 touchdowns today in the second quarter.
You know, during the halftime break, we ran into Bill Tobin, and boy, was he beaming.
We're playing hard. He talked yesterday about playing hard. You lose the field, leave the field even losing. Watch your head shot because you played hard. He said this team is going to play hard all year. Today they played hard and they had it won early. As again they go to the run. Again it's Lamont Warren. Nothing there. Shut down by the outside linebacker Eddie Robinson, number 50.
Eddie Robinson looking up at the scoreboard.
Good young player.
Yes, he is. But
Jeff
right
Fisher
now,
said all his linebackers are so smart. Yeah. Robinson, Smith, and Barrow. He said you could have any one of them calling your defensive signals and adjustments.
Jeff Fisher's got to be in a tizzy right now. Trying to figure out what went wrong. It happened so fast.
Harbaugh. I don't know if I'd keep your starting quarterback in with a 42-8 lead and the Oilers out there in ill humor down by that margin, and Glenn Montgomery again is on the stop.
No. Harbaugh would sit down and take his shoulder pads off. Murkowski would come in. Marshall Faulk wouldn't see a football field for another week.
They want more, though, Beasley. Here comes Biasucci. On 4th down, he'll attempt a long field goal. The hold will be at the 43-yard line. It'll be a 42-yard field goal hold at the 32. See his numbers last year when he became the Colts single-season scoring leader. Like Del Greco of the Oilers, he scored 129 points. Spins the kick up. And good.
Smile on his face. We saw Ted Marshall-Broda with a little confident, cocky walk on the sideline. Something's happening in Indianapolis.
Bud Adams, the owner of the Oilers, didn't make the trip. Bud might have known something.
Well, unfortunately, Bud had to watch it on TV and see this mess.
Travis Hanna runs back the kickoff for Houston. After fumbling earlier, he's got both hands on the ball as the wave of tacklers comes down to get him. And Houston takes over the ball again with 10:43 to play in the game. Next Sunday, NBC Sports presents an action-packed NFL doubleheader beginning at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time with NFL Live. Then most of you will see Barry Foster and the Steelers take on the Cleveland Browns. Others will see the Colts go against the Bucs at Tampa, while others will see the Dolphins meet the Packers at Green Bay. And in Game 2 of our doubleheader, we'll bring you the same Houston Oilers in the Battle of Texas as they take on the Super Bowl champion Dallas Cowboys at Irving, Texas. That's next Sunday. Right now, it's got to be in doubt whether Cody Carlson will be ready to start for the Oilers against the Cowboys. Although, fortunately, the x-rays of his injured left shoulder were negative. No fracture.
And see, there it is again, Don. They are playing such good zone defense that the only thing that Cody and Bucky have had available to them when it comes to completions is the little 2- and 3-yard completions on the sidelines. And only there because the defense is saying, we will allow you to have that. We don't want you to catch the ball in the middle of the field so your great athletes can turn it up and make a big play, and we certainly don't want you throwing anything deep. It's been textbook zone coverage.
Richardson with a good move, buys some time, looking to throw on the run. Now he takes it himself and darts ahead and gets the first down. Uses just a few seconds. Still 10:14 left to play in this game for the Colts with a dominant lead, 45-8.
Bucky had a little something downfield that time, but because he's a right-hander running 3/4 speed to the left, there's no way he could swing his shoulders around and get it out there. Here it is right here. He had a little something there, but he couldn't get his shoulders around to hit it.
First down. There's a throw and a catch. And head very close to a first down is Webster Slaughter. If there's anything good to report on today, in the second half, the Oilers are only losing 10-8. Bad news is they were losing 35-0 at halftime. 4 second-quarter touchdowns by the Colts ended this one early. Brown with both arms on the ball takes it ahead for a first down to the 48-yard line of Indianapolis. Tony McCoy, who's been terrific, number 61, was on the stop.
Well, I recognized first when Houston would have trouble today when that man right there could not get on track.
That's a good one, Tony. Quick, can't block him. Those Oilers knew all about him. They all talked about Tony McCoy.
Yes, they did.
There's a downfield ball, and it's not close. Jeffries was looking more at the defense than he was at the ball.
No, I think it's time to go to Houston.
Yeah.
It's time to catch that charter and just get out of here.
Time is just taking those 1 and 2 gaps and just run inside the tackles.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jack Party run out here with a towel and just throw it in the middle of the field, like in boxing. No mind.
Dolphins is a gimme, I guess, at this point, eh? TKO in the second quarter. Big rush. They're going to get Richardson popped, too.
once again, the tremendous amount of pressure that the Colts are able to apply. It's happened all day long. Look at it, top, bottom, sideways, middle, and every time you let it go, you have a large human grabbing part of your body.
Richardson on first down. Nice throw by Bucky Richardson. He threads it in to Reggie Brown. The loss of Munchak after all those all-pro seasons at left guard might be being felt. That takes an awful lot of adjusting. Well, you're never going to replace that quality, but that line was in such synchronization in recent years, and Munchak and Matthews, two of the great offensive linemen in the league, probably in the last 20 years. There is a draw play to Brown, and he breaks it, and Gary Brown is all the way down inside the 15-yard line to the 13.
And the last two plays are Houston Oilers plays. That looked like Houston Oilers offense. You saw a pass completed inside the numbers, on time, and now you see super rushing lanes and a super run by Gary Brown. Now that hole, look at that hole. That's a great replay, about 10 yards wide, the hole.
Richardson good on the run. Gets out of bounds. Quentin Coriat was the man in pursuit. A year ago, the Indianapolis Colts 4-12. Ted Marchibroda, their coach, has engineered two of the greatest comebacks in pro football, and he's done it twice with the Colts franchise. In 1975, he took over a Colt team that had won 2 games and lost 12 the previous year. And then his first year in 75 in Baltimore, the Colts went 10-2. And 3 years ago, he came in here, took over a team that went 1-15 the year before he came in. His first year here, they went 9-7, then fell to 4-12 last year. Now they look to be back as a real good-looking football team. Marchibroda was a standout player. He played with the Steelers, the Pittsburgh area. Tobin took over. He said it took him 15 minutes of conversation to decide that Marchibroda was the man he wanted coaching his team. And then he brought his brother as defensive coordinator. That certainly seems to be working it out. Certainly on opening day it is, as the Colts lead 45-8. Timing throw. Richardson going into the end zone and trying to hit Webster Slaughter, but on the play was Derwin Gray.
Derwin Gray with perfect position. And even unselfishly, he leaned in towards Slaughter to make sure that he couldn't jump high enough to catch that. Had he have just run to the ball, he would have had an easy interception, but he made sure that there's no way Webb could get up and even touch the ball.
Richardson losing the handle as he tries to deliver the ball hard, and Coriat was also on the play.
Bucky's just a little bit off. I mean, that ball had the nose of his passes when they're not thrown well are down.
Yep.
And just natural aerodynamics pull the ball down into the turf. It's just a little off. He wasn't ready to, you never know when you're going to play as a backup quarterback.
Now on 4th and 14 from the 16-yard line. Richardson takes a look into the end zone. Fires and throws, and it's a touchdown for Houston. On the mark, he hits Haywood Jeffries. And that makes the score 45-14. Indianapolis in the lead.
So Bucky doing a super job that time of purchasing a little time for himself. He made the right decision on the scramble. This decision right here buys him a lot of time. So he's wide open, nobody's near him. He's able to wait, and wait until his receiver breaks open, and they will go for 2 again. They were successful last time.
They were throwing the ball. They try it again. Karam's incomplete, and it'll stand at 45-14. This is a very important time of the game because of the injury to Cody Carlson there. Richardson needs all the work he can get today with the Cowboys coming up next week.
The credit line has nothing to do with your value.
Today, Warren Moon, a starting quarterback in recent years for the Houston Oilers, is quarterbacking the Minnesota Vikings as they trail Green Bay Sterling Sharp catching a touchdown pass early in that game, so he did indeed play. Meanwhile, Carlson has injured his left shoulder in this game when he was sacked by Tony McCoy. X-rays were negative, but whether or not he'll be ready to go against the Cowboys next week has not yet been determined. So in his absence, Bucky Richardson has come in and he's thrown for 2 touchdowns. His first 2 scores passing the ball as a Houston Oiler. There's Jim Harbaugh, who's just spectacular today and replacing Jeff George. He's now with the Atlanta Falcons, and they're playing at Detroit in a 28-28 tie. Harbaugh threw the ball only 12 times today, but he completed 9 for 105 yards. He also handed it off to Marshall Faulk, who ran for 141 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Well, they pulled it off.
Yep.
The onside kick successful. The second one they've tried. Bishop comes up with the ball. A unique placement of the football. See, it's lying flat almost on the ground off the side of the tee. Gets the right bounce. There's a good shot in there to make an unidentifiable Colt let the ball go so that Houston could grab it.
And they will be passing on every down, trailing 45-14 with 6:51 to play.
Blaine Bishop, 23, with a great special teams effort there.
Doing it in his hometown.
Yeah, he had an unsung hero, though, come in there and pop it loose for him.
Ruler to catch. The ball's out to the 46-yard line. Webster Slaughter coming back in the ball. Missing the preseason. Coming back after knee surgery. He's been a terrific player, first for the Browns, now for the Oilers, and appears to be in very good health. Webster's been getting his hands on it today, mostly on short patterns. Colts haven't given up much deep.
No, they haven't. And once again, my conversation about the Colts forcing them to go to the flat. And there's another one.
But again, not much happening as Haywood Jeffries struggles to try to get ahead for the first down. He'll be just short of it as he advances the ball to about midfield. Game clock winding down with 6 minutes left to play. Richardson growing in confidence as his playing time increases, getting much more effective throwing the ball. That's important. He could be the starter against the Cowboys next week. Another completion. Richardson on a timing out pattern delivers the ball to Reggie Brown.
There's another play that is more readily identifiable with the Houston Oilers offense. A play around the numbers, you know, upfield, downfield, actually gaining some yards. And he stands in against a 4-man rush, and this one is incomplete at the 34-yard line. Pat Coleman took his eye off the ball, trying to turn upfield. There's a second example of that we've seen. Ernest Gibbons did it in the first half, and Coleman that time trying to run before he brings it in. And you know what, Don, that happens a lot when the defense is really hitting. You know, you start trying to see where the defenders are before you actually have secured the ball.
Draw play doesn't go for much. They give it to Gary Brown straight up the middle, and he's taken down by Devon McDonald. Next Saturday at 2:30 Eastern Time, 4:35 left to play. Well, Beasley, you're coaching the Oilers. You got the Cowboys coming in next week. Your starting quarterback, Cody Carlson, could be doubtful with a dinged left shoulder. And overall, the performance has been shoddy. What do you do in a week of practice to get ready?
You know what? There's really nothing they can do. We have not seen the Houston Oilers. I mean, they got on a slide in the first part of this game that they simply could not correct.
Richardson, he's caught by Harrod, and Richardson goes down back at the 48-yard line. And the Colts take over the ball. A 4th down sack, the 4th sack of the game for Indianapolis.
Mitsubishi Motors presents Diamond.
And the Colts have now gone to a backup quarterback. This is Don Mikowski, who's starting his 2nd season as a Colt after 6 years at Green Bay. He was a Pro Bowl player for the Packers back in '89. And most likely he'll be running the ball. His team leading 45-14 with 4.5 minutes to go. Run the ball they do. This is Lamont Warren cutting back. Penalty marker in, and Lamont Warren is down to the 43-yard line. And an Oiler is down. Holding call against the Colts. Down and 20. Lamont Warren on a draw. The Oilers get him, knock him down back at the 38-yard line. Opening day quarterbacks for the Colts over the last 10 years. Way back in '84 it was Mike Pagel, Art Schleister, followed by Jack Trudeau, then Gary Hogeboom. Also got the start in '86 and '88. Chris Chandler, Jeff George in '90 and '91, Mark Herman, '92, Trudeau last year, and Jim Harbaugh today. And this is only the second opening day win in those 11 seasons for Indianapolis. Harbaugh playing a very under control, well executed game, throwing the ball well, making excellent play calls. Right now an out pattern goes. Ball is caught by Aaron Bailey, number 80, makes his first catch as a Colt. Taken down by Darrell Lewis as the game clocks down to 3:30 to play.
This is a rare opportunity in the National Football League for your backups to get a little game experience and to come in and, I mean, almost as a unit. Backup offensive linemen, backup running backs. Dixon there, 69 as the starter, but outside of that presence, a lot of people getting a chance to work.
Mikowski out of the University of Virginia has had some shoulder problems, but he's been okay the last couple of years. Had a very good summer. Quarterback ranking of over 100. Now Toner runs the ball. He crashes down inside the 45-yard line, down to the 43, but he will be about 4 yards short of a first down. And the Colts send out their punting team. Aaron Wortham, a rookie linebacker from Texas El Paso, makes the stop.
Toner's excited. Look at his eyes. Look at his face there. He's pumped. Great opportunity for him.
El Paso, Texas, the land of Fred Imus. 2:20 to go in the game. Oilers getting ready to return it. Colts taking all the time they can, running the clock down to the 2-minute. Well, now the clock runs out, the play clock, and they'll get a 5-yard delay of game penalty called against them, but could care less as they are 2 minutes and 9 seconds away from one of the most impressive wins in this franchise's history, considering what they're coming off of last year. Ron Stark, the cathlete, he qualified for the Olympic trials out of Florida State. Big rush by the Oilers. Stark, who's not had one block going on 4 seasons now. Travis Hanel, that's not been Travis's day. It almost touched him.
You know what? That was almost a nightmare decision by Hanna to walk over there and try to block. That ball had touched him on the foot. If the rushing guys had pushed him into the ball, he'd be in trouble again. Stop.
1:51 to go. We'll be back with the conclusion from Indianapolis after this. Long flight back to the Lone Star State. Bubba McDowell talking it over. What went wrong? This is a team that won its last 11 regular season games, and the upcoming schedule looks as follows. At Dallas next week. Buffalo at the Astrodome the following week. Then Cincinnati at home. Tough one then, knocked off to Pittsburgh, a bye week. And the Browns, who've just beaten Cincinnati 28-20, will go to Houston. And then they play at Philadelphia the following week on October 24th. Eagles losing right now to the Giants in the Meadowlands of New Jersey. With 1:51 to go, Bucky Richardson, who's thrown for 2 touchdowns, will try to put something more up as he throws from his end zone. He's going for it all, and it's a bit overthrown, almost a perfect strike. Haywood Jeffries running deep, running stride for stride with him, though, is the cornerback Eugene Daniel.
Tried to shock him there. Sometimes that'll work, you know. You
team's expecting you. They know you're backed up. They're expecting you to stick it in your big running back's stomach. Sometimes you'll get a cheap one that way. It didn't work.
I don't think Houston's been beaten like this since that disastrous day at Cincinnati in the cold at Riverfront Stadium with Ziaskin and those guys, but they put up 51 points.
Yeah.
Richardson throws, and he's not close as Reggie Brown ran a turn in, and Richardson was reading a out pattern. Some key departures for the Oilers. Curtis Duncan, wide receiver, was waived. William Fuller and Sean Jones, they were the starting defensive ends last season. 23 sacks between them.
That hurt.
Fuller's an Eagle and Jones is a Green Bay Packer. Greg Montgomery, one of the best punters. He's in Detroit. And Warren Moon, of course, in Minnesota. This is the most lopsided score of the opening day and also the longest game. Downfield throw and a catch and a big stick put on by Derwin Gray. Pat Coleman catches it and holds on. Oilers get a first down.
Bucky has not looked bad. You know, he's brought in a bad situation, but he's made the most of it. Everybody in the stadium knows that he has to pass the ball, so
better hurry. Here comes the big rush. He gets it away. Incomplete at the 32-yard line as Damon Watts, a rookie, breaks it up, intended for Pat Coleman.
Damon Watts with a great last final two-step acceleration toward the football that time. That super coverage. Damon's born right here in Indianapolis. How lucky is that?
Yep.
Matter of fact, he was a great basketball player. In 1989, he was the guard on the state championship basketball team in high school. And for the state of Indiana, that's impressive.
Yes, it is.
So he can apparently go to the hole.
And he went to Indiana University,
yeah,
where he played football for Mallory instead of basketball for Knight. Now second down and 10 comes up for the Oilers, who trail 45-14 in the late stages of the game. Throw in the flag. Webster Slaughter, and he gets out of bounds out to the 37-yard line. Vince Tobin, defensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts, was saying yesterday 17 is the key number when it comes to points for a defense. If you hold your opponent to 17 or fewer points, you will win 85 to 90% of the time. So, but the one almost sure way you can win is if you shut them out, which they did for much of the game.
That they did.
Get the ball out. Fighting to keep him in bounds. They keep Travis Hanna in bounds, and he's down to the 46-yard line. Colts want to end this thing. The Oilers trying to keep it going. Down to 46 seconds left to play.
A little wrestling match there. Super job to keep the receiver in bounds.
The executive producer of NBC Sports is Tommy Roy. Today's game was produced by John McGinnis, directed by Kelly Atkinson. Oh, he gets it away, and then Spencer Tillman loses the ball with 27 seconds left to go.
Well, Bucky might be getting ready to take on the Dallas Cowboys, depending on how Cody Carlson's shoulder's doing. He took the ice off. Looks like, so maybe he's a little better.
That's good.
That is a real good sign.
You need all your troops when you're taking on the boys.
Better believe it.
Oilers and the boys, that's a little unfriendly. Out pattern, incomplete. 23 seconds left to go in the game. The intended receiver was Pat Coleman. Richardson, he was vying with Sean Salisbury for the backup job with the Oilers. I mean, the fans in Houston were really in favor of Bucky Richardson, who, of course, quarterbacked the Texas A&M Aggies. He's not a Texan, though. He's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
That's close.
Yeah.
That was just part Texas. You know, back before the land grant, we Texans own all of that.
That's right. Still own a lot. Big place, the Lone Star State. Nice out pattern as Richardson times it up with Travis Hanna. Gets the ball down to the 42-yard line and very close to a first down. He's got one. The Oilers looking to get their offense in sync. As pointed out, it's a very important time, even though the game's out of reach, because Richardson might be the guy, at least next week against Dallas. Needs all the work he can get, and as the game wears on, his passing's been a lot sharper. Standing in, fires downfield, another connection by Richardson. Big hit put on by Derwin Gray. Webster Slaughter catches it, holds on, and now we have a timeout signal for him. 9 seconds to play.
Somebody called timeout.
Guys, it's over. You're beaten, and you were in the second quarter.
Come on, Coach.
It was over, Coach.
Football League, the formula pits the teams that had the tough time the year before against similar teams as best they can. And I'll tell you what, Harbaugh and the boys could run through that schedule with a pretty impressive little number. They really could.
Jim Harbaugh on the right talking things over with Marshall Faulk. A lot of guys shaking Marshall Faulk's hand.
You know, I tried to put pressure on Faulk. I said, "Now, son, do you feel any pressure? Everybody's expecting you to carry this franchise." And boy, he just shot me right down.
Yeah, no,
he said, "Hey, I've been in this situation all my life, and I'm ready to go."
Said he worked all his life to be here.
That's right.
Couldn't wait for it. Richardson running. And he stays in bounds and then ducks out of bounds with 1 second left. And we'll have one more play in a game that was over in the first half.
Well, you know what? We did not see the Houston Oilers today. I don't know who these guys are, but this is still a fine football team. All of the big stars, I mean, players win games, and the players are still here. Dishman.
This will end the game unless there's a defensive penalty. Throw and a catch for a touchdown. On the final play, it's a touchdown, so the Oilers get a bit closer and they make it 45-20. They'll try for 2 points again. And before long, this game will be over. Trust me, League, there is no love on any Sunday. Teams can beat you 80-0. They're going to do it every single week.
Yes, they will.
And if they can rub it in, they're going to rub it in.
Oh, yeah.
And Houston is as much in forefront in that department as any team in the NFL. If they can rub it in, they'll rub it in. And today, they got their butts kicked from start to finish. Coming up, the Head and Shoulders post-game report. Right now, Jack Pardee with a sportsmanlike gesture going out to congratulate Ted Marchibroda. The Head and Shoulders post-game report is next after today. The Colts beat the Oilers 45-21.